Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto has kurama chakra and summoning jutsu. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Char Mosirren and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. The Wild and Unpredictable Ninja. Naruto Uzumaki appears. A sigh resonated from a young householder who looked about the age of a 6 or 7-year-old as he looked at his empty apartment. I totally forgot food again, he groaned out of embarrassment, hunger, and sadness. His wild blonde hair didn't match his middling mood at the moment before he yelled, "Ah, forget it. I'll just head back to the store and grab some more ramen cups. That'll cheer me up." He grinned, his earlier mood forgotten already. He had a pair of goggles on his face in wake of a headband and hummed a little off-note tune, "Gonna get me some ramen, gonna get me some food." He sang somewhat loudly as he flopped to the bed. "Ah, this is the life. I can't believe the old man got me this place. It was a hassle yesterday, but well worth it for the chance to not have to deal with others." The boy said aloud loudly to no one in particular. This boy's name was Naruto Uzumaki. He was only 6, turning 7 tomorrow, and the leader of the village, known as the Hokage to most, while Naruto calls him old man, decided to give him an early birthday present. Naruto had no current worries until his door slammed open. "Shut up in there. You're too loud." An older man, his landlord, yelled at the young boy. Instead of backing down, the boy looked towards the landlord in confusion. "Yes, you little brat. You're too loud." The landlord repeated, finger accusingly pointing towards Naruto, who grew angry. "You're being louder than me, what do you mean?" Naruto retaliated. "You're the guest here. You have to be mindful of others, you stupid brat." The landlord spat back. "What did you call me?" Naruto yelled even louder until a new voice entered the conversation. "God, will you shut up already, you two are yelling too loudly." The voice proclaimed as Naruto looked around, face now rooted in confusion again. The landlord groaned, finding the anger not worth it as he tried a different approach. "Look kid, you're not the only one living in this place. Sure, you own this area thanks to Lord Hokage, but you have to be mindful of your neighbors as well, okay? Sorry if we got off on the wrong foot, my name is Hanok, and I'm in charge of making sure this whole place is up to snuff and all my apartment owners are getting along and following the rules. I see you forgot to buy groceries, huh? Ramen cups aren't good for you, so tell you what, I'll go with you and help you pick out some groceries to make some healthy meals, and then we'll go out and I can show you around a bit more." Hanok introduced himself as Naruto went through his sentences again. "Ramen is totally healthy. I can live off of that instead of going with." Naruto almost finished his sentence before a growl rumbled through his mind. "Don't you dare finish that sentence, say yes, you stubborn brat." The voice in his head demanded as Naruto gulped, seeing Hanok twitch and look like suppressed rage from the comment. "Ramen is not healthy for you, it's great in moderation, but you cannot live with just ramen without falling behind in physical strength. You do want to be a shinobi, do you not?" Hanok said back, trying his hardest not to yell as Naruto's head fell again. Has a point, Naruto thought to himself before hearing a scoff in response in his head. "He does, if you want to get stronger and be worthy of my presence, you need to keep a healthy food habit. I don't even know why I would want to help such a stubborn brat like you, but if you can prove worthy, I can make you strong enough to become better than that old man of yours." The voice claimed. Naruto looked in shock before nodding out of determination. Hanok just looked in confusion at the young boy before shrugging it off. "You know it. I'm going to become the greatest Hokage you've ever seen. Let's go get those groceries, landlord-san." Naruto exclaimed with a grin fresh on his face as he gave Hanok a thumbs up, to which Hanok deadpanned. "What happened to ramen is totally healthy, I can live off of that instead of going with me." "Huh?" Hanok asked as Naruto started to sweat from how well Hanok had him figured out. I decided that I needed the help. I really don't know how my body works, and if I messed it up I would do terribly at the academy and might not pass. I want to be able to graduate top of the class and impress all of them. Then they'll all look up to me instead of always ignoring me or hating me for no reason. They'll have to pay attention." Naruto said, eyes sparkling with the dream that he had. It was enough to get a few chuckles out of Hanok, who shook his head. "Kids nowadays, okay, tell you what, since it's getting dark right now, you can eat over at my place tonight and I'll help you shop in the morning. Then I'll give you an extended tour around town and teach you what little I know about being a shinobi." Hanok said with a smirk rushing to his face. Any second now, he thought as Naruto erupted in joy. Yes. Thank you. Do you really mean it?" Naruto practically begged Hanok as Hanok's smirk widened. "I do, but you have to eat all of the supper or none of that happens. We'll go through this once every 2 weeks from then on. If you fail, I won't do any of that for those 2 weeks, and if you pass, I'll train you as much as I can. Though I must." Hanok tried to add on as Naruto nodded enthusiastically before rushing out his open door towards Hanok's place. At least he thought he was as Naruto soon came back in confusion. Where's your place again? He asked as Hana could no longer contain his laughter. This kid was too much for him, and that stubborn bullheadedness was enough to lift the spirits of anyone. No wonder the Hokage sent him to watch over this little guy. Come on, just know that since I'm only a citizen, I don't know much, but I can teach you basic self-defense citizen-wise and some shinobi history. It'll provide you a better start than from no base at all, don't you think? Hanak asked the energetic lad before lightly bopping him aside the head. Hey. What was that for? Naruto whined as Hanak rolled his eyes. You were being too loud, people are sleeping. Hanak's smile slowly turned into a smirk as Naruto pouted. He turned the key and opened the door to his house. I know it's not much, but make yourself at home. I'll make some tea while you wait. Hanak said as Naruto wandered the apartment space. Furniture was here and there, and the place looked much more lived in than Naruto's home, having a lamp, chairs, and much more stock in the kitchen. Naruto sniffed as he smelt the food that Hanak started cooking. He looped back around towards the kitchen as Hanak smiled. I'm making a homemade roast for myself, figuring I'll just have leftovers for some other day. I can easily cook enough for the both of us, but the sides are vegetables with a side of potatoes. Naruto made a disgusted face at this, while Hanak nervously laughed. Either way, we made a deal and you have to honor it, and it's much better than starving, right? Hanak continued as if he never seen the face, even though he had and was chuckling a bit from the expressiveness of the boy standing behind him. It'll be a while before it gets done. Feel free to look at the shelves for any books you would want to read in the meantime while I make this. Hanak suggested as Naruto nodded and walked off. He didn't really want to since they weren't his, but Hanak offered, and he really didn't want to stand awkwardly behind him like that. He looked around on the shelves before something stood out to his eyes. It looked older than the other books, as it had a worn-out grayish backing to it. It was also quite hefty for poor old Naruto, as well as being placed on a much higher shelf. Naruto looked around before seeing the chair and grabbing it, making sure that Hanak didn't hear it as it scraped across the room for it to be placed by the shelf. Hanak was curious from the noise and came around from the corner to see Naruto stand on it to read the book. He deadpanned and walked over, waiting for Naruto to notice him. After a few seconds of Naruto still struggling, he coughed pointedly, scaring Naruto into knocking the book off as well as himself off balance. Hana quickly caught both of them before putting them down. He sighed while Naruto looked completely awestruck. Whoa, that was so cool. How did you do that? Naruto asked as Hanak waved him off. Maybe some other time, are you okay? Hanak asked as Naruto nodded before walking over to the book. You have a keen eye, this here is my yearbook, yeah let's go with that, of my high school year. He said as Naruto narrowed his eyes at him. Landlord-san, even I could tell you're lying, what really is it? Naruto asked as Hanak sighed. It was from my father, when he was a shinobi. Naruto's eyes glinted as Hanak explained reluctantly, it wasn't like he was lying, it was from his father, just wasn't for the reason that Naruto thought it was. Really? Naruto exclaimed as Hanak nervously shook his head. Yeah. He smiled, and he retired to take care of me, so he managed to teach me a bit about the shinobi way of life, but not enough that I feel really confident about it. I'll try teaching you all I can, okay? Now supper time. He grinned as the oven beeped immediately after he said that. Naruto was practically glowing in awe. No way, Naruto said, stupefied in awe at the act before snapping out of it. Well, he mentally puked at the sight of the broccoli and other veggies. He sucked it in and nearly started eating before Hanak stopped him. What's the big idea? Naruto asked before Hanak shook his head. We must offer respect to those that brought us our food first. For the farmers who planted the plants and raised the pig that became our roast, and to the shinobi that risked their lives each and every day with the intent on keeping us safe from harm's way. Thank you for this gift you have given us tonight. Hanak said as he and Naruto bowed their heads. An eye opened from the two of them, a smile forming on their faces. Let's dig in. They both said in union as they bit into their meal. Silence befell the two of them as they stood still, staring at each other. Both spit out the roast at the same time. Take out. Hanak suggested, struggling to clean his mouth of the disgusting taste. Please. I'm dying over here. What the heck are your cooking skills anyways? Naruto demanded, coughing from how burnt the roast was. In fact, it was so burnt that it was nearly inedible. Hanak looked almost downright offended. You're one to talk. I bet you can't even crack an egg, let alone cook a meal. He said as snickers came from the two of them. It eventually went into full-on laughter for a while between the two before Hanak managed to calm down. Okay, let's go. I know a good restaurant we can go to that's open at this time of night, just stay close to me, okay? Hanak said as Naruto nodded. Hanak grabbed the two plates and put them outside a door before walking down the stairs. Naruto almost asked before Hanak shushed him and pointed back towards the door. An old lady smiled as she grabbed the two plates and brought them inside. How does she even survive off of your cooking? Naruto asked fearfully, and for once, Hanak had no answer. I'm still trying to figure out that one myself, he admitted. Shuddering, the two quietly slipped off towards town. They had been wandering around town a bit, with Hanak having Naruto learn the basics of stealth as they went to their destination. To put it simply, he was bad, very bad at it in fact. Hanak sighed as he walked back and bopped Naruto's head. Fix your body position, you're exposed as you are, know how your body fits around the objects, and use the advantage of it being night to better make use of the shadows. On top of that, keep your eyes looking all around you, don't focus on anything lest you get caught unexpectedly. Hanak instructed, helping Naruto better fit behind the food cart. Naruto nodded all along, soaking in the knowledge. Now if you ever go on one of your prank runs, you might be able to not get caught for a while longer. Hanak said as Naruto's eyes glinted. Hanak glared, if you prank me, there will be consequences, don't even think of it, buddy. Naruto nodded with a grin on his face. They kept going through town, but no matter how many times Hanak instructed Naruto on his stealth, Naruto still remained unaware of his surroundings. He was getting better at hiding his shape, but that could only help so much before you get attacked from behind. Hanak sighed in annoyance before writing it off, let the academy deal with that. He tapped Naruto from behind, once again shocking him. Landlord-san. Why do you keep doing that? Naruto whined in a loud whisper. Hanak deadpanned, whispering back. What did we talk about? Be aware of your surroundings, and maybe I won't be able to do that. Naruto hung his head in defeat. We're here by the way. Naruto's head shot back up with eyes befitting excitement. Hanak snickered as he pointed to the restaurant. This is Yakiniku-Q, one of the most popular BBQ places in Konoha, and one of my favorite places to eat to get great meat. Hanak bragged about the place, looking oddly sad at the same time. He quickly shook it off when he looked back at Naruto. Let's go in. The two nodded as they sneaked around and entered the front of the restaurant. The sun was already completely down, and yet the restaurant still looked jam-packed with all types of people. Hanak was searching for someone before he found him near the back, while Naruto took in the sight and smell of the place. Hanak took Naruto's hand and led him to the robust man sitting in the back, markings lining his face. Before they sat down, Hanak looked to Naruto. Now Naruto, unless you want to permanently get kicked out of here and stuff, do not call this guy fat or anything resembling that word. He's very sensitive to that, and people like him are as well, so please, don't. Call him robust if you have to, or just think of all of that so-called fat as muscle, but whatever you do, don't call him fat. Hanak warned Naruto, who looked towards the man again and nodded. Hanak sighed as he saw Choza looking at him with a raised eyebrow and amusement on his face. Hanak was slightly terrified as he could tell Choza heard him, loud and clear, but was thankful he didn't catch his ire. Oh thank God, that was a close one. He thought to himself before leading Naruto to the table. These seats taken? Hanak asked Choza, who motioned them to sit down with a smile. Thanks, so what's on the order tonight, Choza? Hanak grinned at Choza's rolled eyes. You got the money to pay? Choza asked as Hanak grabbed his wallet and showed some bills. Depends on the little lad's appetite, though, it can't be as bad as yours, now can it? Hanak jabbed again. Least he would have the ability to eat some real cooking. Choza jabbed back, laughing as soon as Naruto was nodding rapidly to that one. Hanak was crestfallen. I really need to learn how to cook. Hanak fake pouted with a smile. Ah come on now, maybe after 30 years, you'll finally be able to crack an egg. Choza said, hearing the snickers out of Naruto at this. Ah well, all jokes and jabs aside, it's good to see you here man. Almost thought you would try eating a cooked meal of yours. Choza laughed heartily at Hanak's hung head, knowing that he hit it on the head. Did he have you try it too, young one? Choza asked Naruto, who nodded, much to Choza's amusement. Before Hanak could get any more depressed at his terrible cooking skills, the waitress went over to Choza. Lord Akimichi, what do you wish to eat today? She asked Choza, to which Naruto became confused. Lord Akimichi? He repeated out of confusion. Ah, sorry for him, they're my guests tonight. Bring them a menu if you would, and I'll have one of everything. Choza apologized when he saw the near-offended look the waitress gave Naruto. They call me Lord Akimichi because my name is Choza Akimichi, the 15th head of the Akimichi clan. Nice to meet you. Choza introduced himself. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. One day, I'll be the Hokage, believe it. Naruto introduced himself to the hearty laughter of Choza. I'll believe it when I see it, keep working hard and you might well become the next Hokage one day. Choza said to the grin of Naruto. The two commenced in some small talk, just talking about the day and everything for a while, before he had asked Naruto when his birthday was. My birthday's tomorrow. Naruto said with a wide happy grin to the surprise of Choza and Hanak. Then how about you celebrate at my place tomorrow? Choza offered to the young boy, who looked up in excitement. Really, he nearly jumped up in joy when Choza nodded. Yahoo! He yelled in excitement to the playful bunk of Hanak. Easy there, other people are eating here too, gotta be mindful of that. I'll lead him to the compound tomorrow, then, Choza, thank you for that. Hanak smiled as Choza laughed once more. Then their food arrived and they ate after cooking it, Naruto having tried to challenge Choza to an eating race and losing spectacularly to the cheerful laughter of Choza and Hanak. Soon they were all full and content with it. That is until they brought the bills. One bill was to Choza with the charges of his meal which he easily paid for. The other was to Naruto and Hanak, to which Hanak sighed as he paid for it. Well, I underestimated his appetite. Oh well, I barely had enough for it. Hanak shrugged, still happy that he was able to eat with his friend. Don't forget tomorrow. I'll have Choji come and pick you up at 10, okay? Now go get some rest. Choza smiled as Naruto struggled to stay awake. Hanak looked surprised before putting Naruto on his back. Go to sleep, Naruto, I'll get you home. He smiled as Naruto went to sleep and said goodbye to Choza. The next morning, Naruto groaned as he got up to knock on the door. Yawning, he opened the door to getting knocked on the face. Ow, he groaned as he looked back to the open door to see a smaller Choza-looking person. The markings were swirls instead of the curved lines that Choza had, and you could only see the beginning of the gut swell that the Akimichi clan was known for. Sorry. I didn't mean to do that. The young kid apologized as Naruto got back up from the floor. Are you okay? The kid panicked as Naruto nodded. Yeah, I'm alright. Nothing can keep Naruto Uzumaki down that long, believe it. Naruto grinned as the kid smiled. My name is Choji Akimichi, happy birthday. I came to get you and Hanak so we can go to the birthday party. Choji introduced, mostly excited since they were laying a feast, along with cake. Naruto grinned and hugged Choji for a bit before stepping back once more. Thanks, my name is Naruto Uzumaki and I'm going to become the next Hokage, believe it. Naruto introduced himself to the laughter of Choji. What's the big idea? Naruto said, more than a little insulted at that. You, being Hokage? I'll believe it when I see it, Choji said, nearly mirroring the words of Choza, to which Naruto relaxed a bit towards. You have a long way to go before you can even dare try to say you'll be Hokage. Choji added. Hanak finally got up and walked towards the two children. Come on, we got quite a bit of ground to cover to get to the Akimichi compound, don't we? Hanak told them as he broke up the growing argument between them before Naruto made a mistake he would not recover from. They went towards the academy during town, Naruto being the only one unable to ignore the hated glares that came his way. Someone knocked into him purposefully, causing the poor boy to fall down. What was that for? Naruto demanded as the man scoffed. Like I need a reason for you. He spat out as Naruto growled in retaliation. Stupid humans, can't they see that you're nothing like me? Can't even look past the appearance before hating someone. The voice inside sounded spiteful at this, and Naruto himself couldn't tell why. Naruto looked towards the man. I'm just like you. We're both human beings, we're both doing our best to serve this village, so why am I so different from you in your eyes? Naruto asked, surprised by the words that came out of his mouth, but agreeing to them all the same. The man grit his teeth out of anger. You're nothing like me. He spat towards Naruto, putting his fist back as if he was going to punch the kid when Iruka came by to stop him. The man growled a bit before Hanyuki also walked towards them, both glaring at him to try something. HMPH, never say you're like me again, you hear me? The man decided against it before walking away in anger. Iruka and Hanak sighed in relief as Iruka looked towards Naruto, kneeling down to his level. Are you okay, Naruto? I saw what happened while I got ready for the new academy year to start and couldn't let it happen to you. Iruka asked as Naruto nodded solemnly. Hanak stepped up and looked towards Iruka with a smile. Hey Naruto, don't forget we're heading towards your birthday party. Invite Iruka along, why don't you? Hanak asked with a smile. You know Iruka-sensei? Naruto asked in confusion, scaring both Iruka and Hanak. He wasn't supposed to know that. They thought in a panic before Hanak coughed. Why yeah, I met him when my father brought him over once to introduce us. We were good friends when he went to the academy and stuff. Hanak said as Naruto grinned. Okay then, come on Iruka-sensei, let's go to the birthday party. Naruto said, energy back to full. Both Iruka and Hanak mentally sighed in relief. The three made four walk towards the Akimichi compound with smiles on their faces, with the exception of Naruto who bore a grin on his face. Choji ran off ahead with Naruto not too far behind him as they raced towards the compound. So, how have you been Iruka? Been a while, hasn't it? Hanak asked as they watched the two kids playing around. Naruto seemed to be getting angry with Choji's attitude, but they could tell neither were really meaning it and they were just enjoying the other's company right now. Yeah, it really has, sorry to hear about Kishu though, if only I was there to help, Iruka said, guilty over that as Hanak patted him on the back and shook his head. There wasn't anything we could have done about that. It was her choice to become a citizen after Hanak sighed, unable to bring himself to talk about it. Iruka didn't push but agreed with him. It wasn't much, but the two sat on a tree nearby before Naruto got impatient and went to look for them. The two smiled and revealed themselves, startling Naruto. The birthday party was going really well for the most part, seeing as Choji and Choza both welcomed Naruto with wide arms as friends. Iruka and Hanok also had fun too at the party, noticing that Kakashi was nearby watching the two smile towards him, seeing him nod his head and giving an eye smile back in reply. Neither of them mentioned his presence, but they knew Choza also was aware of his presence nearby. Sadly, all great things always had to end, as what seemed to be a group of citizens started approaching the compound with faces twisted in scornful rage. The leader, what seemed to be an older man with no arm, glared at Naruto. "There he is." He shouted to his comrades as Naruto looked in confusion and fear. Even Kurama was thinking of getting involved if it wasn't for Iruka and Hanok stepping in to block the entrance. Choza walked forward as he terrified Naruto with the pure bloodlust radiating from him. Even Choji was scared and took him and backed up. What's happening?" Naruto stuttered out in fear. I think it's better if we don't know." Choji answered back in equal amounts of fear. Soon a pitchfork collided with a kunai as Choza walked past Iruka and Hanok, glaring out at the villagers. "What is the meaning of this?" he demanded as fear struck into the hearts of the villagers. "First you walk in towards my property and then you decide to attack my friends in my home. I hope you have an explanation or else I will sign your death warrant." Choza continued on as the leader walked up. "Sir, you're holding that damn," he tried to explain before being flung across the road from a single punch from Choza. It didn't look like he was getting up anytime soon. "Any other bright ideas? I'll let you off if you leave this very instant and don't come back." 5, he started counting down as the members scattered. When he got to 3, everyone was gone. He sighed as he looked towards Kakashi. "Can you?" he asked as Kakashi jumped down, grabbed the unconscious man, and went to get the Hokage about this. Choza sighed as he looked towards the now scared party-goers, as well as Iruka and Hanok. He first addressed Iruka and Hanok, who both visibly sighed in relief when the villagers left. "Thank you for helping out. If you two weren't here, who knows what might have happened," he said with his hands on their shoulders, smiling at the two of them before addressing the others. "It's all okay now. Now, who's ready for cake?" he shouted to the cheers of everyone. The heavy atmosphere soon went away, not forgotten, as Choza brought out a giant cake with the number 7 on top of it. He placed it in front of Naruto as they now sat down at a huge dining room table outside. Naruto gasped at the cake that reached as tall as Choza. "Make a wish, Naruto," Choza said with a smile, watching Naruto struggle to reach towards the top to blow the candles. Taking mercy on the poor boy, Choza lifted him up to them. "I wish to become Hokage and make everyone my friend," Naruto said with a grin as Kakashi and the current Hokage, Lord Third, walked. "Really now?" The third smiled at Naruto and the group. He was happy to see Naruto having a great birthday instead of being alone, and as soon as he saw Iruka and Hanok, he could see how it happened. Choza and Hanok had been great friends ever since Iruka's academy days under Choza's tutelage, so it made no surprise to see Choza hosting the party. Iruka most likely wouldn't have asked, so the third knew it was due to Hanok. "Yeah, old man. I'll be the next Hokage and have everyone become friends with each other and stop the fighting and wars." Naruto expanded on his wish as he blew out the candles. Well-meaning laughter spread across as Choza put Naruto down. After cutting the cake, Choza gifted a huge piece, about the size of a standard cake at that, to Naruto. "Well, you can't do that on an empty stomach, now can you? Let's eat." "Happy birthday, Naruto," Choza yelled along with most of the party-goers, with the exception of Kakashi, the third, Hanok and Iruka, who simply said it normally with a smile. From there on, the party went great and soon the day was nearing an end. The third had already left to handle the villagers was what he had said, though Naruto had some feeling that it wasn't going to be as nice as he had put it. Iruka had to put some finishing touches on lesson plans and the like and had said the academy classes would start sometime in the next few months, although he'll try to spend more time with Naruto. After that, Naruto had to say goodbye to Choji and Choza, who had him promised to meet up again in 2 weeks, to which Naruto grinned as he noticed it lining up with his meets with Hanok, who looked crestfallen at how quickly he was found out, though he still carried a smile. Soon enough, the two walked from each other to their own houses. "Hey, Naruto, make sure you're up by 10 and we'll start on some taijutsu practice. You gotta be up really early for the full training, but at least by 10 for an hour of training. If not, you don't get training," Hanok said as Naruto nodded. He handed him an alarm clock, having it set since it was on its battery power, as well as a plug to charge it, this way you can't say you didn't know the time. Hanok winked as Naruto smiled. "I'll be up by 8 then," Naruto said as Hanok nodded before they went to their houses. Naruto set the alarm, turned it on, and plugged it in before going to sleep, happy over how the day had gone. "Wake up." The alarm blared to life as a very angry voice yelled at the sleeping Naruto, causing him to panic as he turned the alarm off. 8:10 the alarm said as Naruto looked around for who yelled at him, but couldn't find anyone. Shrugging, he instead sighed as he got dressed, excited and at the same time terrified for what training Hanok would put him through. A yawn escaped him as he knocked on Hanok's door, it opening to reveal a grinning Hanok. "You're late," he said simply, having heard the alarm going off. He didn't mind as he himself could attest to the pain of waking to an alarm clock. Naruto sighed as Hanok led him towards a public training field. A sign nearby read Training Field 2 as Naruto could see some teams honing their skills. Hanok led him away from that towards a small area with a simple training dummy. "I got permission to use this area to train you, but we can't disturb the other team or we will be kicked out," Hanok explained to a nodding Naruto. "Now I'm going to slowly show you the moves and have you try to do the same thing. Don't be annoyed or anything if you don't get it right away, it takes time," Hanok explained as Naruto nodded again. He took a deep breath before quickly doing a 5-hit combo on the dummy, being nearly invisible in the while from how fast he did it. He then slowed it down to be visible to see that he had punched twice with his right arm before kicking the head and twirling to hit with his left hand and finishing it off by using his right elbow. He then looked to Naruto who looked in both awe and confusion about what happened. "Whoa." Naruto gasped out when Hanok smiled. "This is part of my style, I'm more just curious on if it suits you or not before training you up to that stage. It's called the mini fast plate style, a unique style that my father helped me create. Using the speed I have, I use my chakra to increase my speed and pull off precision hits on an enemy. It's akin to the Hyuga's gentle fist style, but a bit different since I don't have the Byakugan to spot the chakra points of people," Hanok explained as Naruto looked even more confused. "What's chakra?" he asked to the laughter of Kurama. "Excuse me if I don't know it." "No need to laugh," he yelled towards Kurama. "You know I'm right here, inside your consciousness. Now you just look like even more of a fool." Kurama laughed some more as Naruto groaned. "Great, so the voice is in my head," he said as Hanok just stared at him. "Ta chakra is Haruka can explain that better than me honestly, but it's energy that flows throughout your body along a network. Now you can draw upon this energy to use jutsu. It can be replenished with sleeping and eating like any other type of energy you use. Using hand signs, we direct the chakra along our network to certain places to create the effects we wish to use, such as using clones and shooting fire, stuff like that," Hanok explained, coughing in embarrassment as he just brushed off Naruto's weird comments to himself, not wishing to know why he did it. Naruto made a sound as he thought about it. "So I take it that you're a part of my chakra?" Naruto thought towards the mystery voice inside him. It seemed to shrug. "You could say that, but not necessarily. My name is Kurama, if you want, I can try to help you access your chakra, but you have to take it from there." Kurama answered back with a shrug, wanting to see what would happen if he gave Naruto a push. Naruto nodded. "Yosh. Okay, Kurama, let's do this," he said to the shock of Hanok. He looked pumped and energetic but then stared at Hanok in confusion. "Now what?" he said to the exasperation of both Hanok and Kurama. "Let's try something simple, this is called the Henjer transformation jutsu, which is used to transform you into someone or something else in order to gather information on targets," Hanok said as he showed Naruto and directed him through each sign, carefully explaining what each one did as he did so before yelling Henjutsu. The cloud of smoke surrounded him as Hanok transformed into a perfect likeness to Naruto himself. "Pretty cool huh," he said with Naruto's signature grin. "Whoa, you became me. Wow, I look so cool," Naruto said, dashing around and looking at the henge from all sorts of sides before Hanok changed back. "Now you try," Hanok said as Naruto nodded, quickly going through each sign. "Henjutsu?" he yelled as the smoke surrounded him before seeing him transform into Hanok-ish. It was like seeing Hanok shrunk to Naruto's size, along with some of Naruto's characteristics bleeding through the disguise. "How did I do?" he grinned as Hanok henged into a mirror. "Ah." Naruto looked in confusion, not expecting to see a child like Hanok reflected before both released their respective henges. "Don't be that sad, that's a lot better than what I did when I first used it." Hanok smiled and put his hand on the shoulder of the crestfallen Naruto. "Really?" Naruto asked as Hanok nodded. "Yeah, I was trying to come up with a special disguise for it, to peep into the girl's room and well," Hanok nervously chuckled as he coughed a bit. "You want to see it?" he asked as Naruto nodded. Hanok sighed. "Henjutsu," he said after repeating the signs. The smoke faded to show a girl like Hanok with great big breasts, yet still having Hanok's beard and blackish hair. Where a ponytail once stood split into two great ponytails. Naruto screamed both out of shock and terror at the henge in front of him. The training team came in and also screamed at the sight before Hanok released the henge. "What the heck was that?" Naruto nearly yelled again before Hanok sighed. "Needless to say, it didn't go as planned. How about you try it?" Hanok asked as Naruto frantically shook his head. "You could try using it to prank people. If you get it right, men will mostly always fall for it, it's great for pranking people," Hanok added as Naruto gained a glint in his eyes. Kurama was both annoyed and disturbed from the sight of Hanok's girl henge. He gulped as Naruto pictured in his mind what he wanted to do. "Henjutsu?" he said after showing the proper signs slowly. The smoke went up once more before it started swirling around Naruto. Hanok was interested as he watched in suspense. The smoke soon went to cover the legs and the ends of the big breasts that Naruto now bore. Hana couldn't resist as Naruto said hi and his nose bled greatly as he fell back. Yup, indeed, Naruto's sexy hinge jutsu was born. Naruto looked in confusion as Kurama sighed. Oh boy, well he wasn't lying when he said men everywhere would fall for it, Kurama reasoned a bit as Naruto grinned. I guess it's too much for you, he said again, still in his hinge. Too sexy, Hanak said, nose bleeding once more as he passed out. Naruto released the jutsu with a grin. Sexy, huh? No idea what that means, but that's what I'll call it, sexy hinge jutsu. Naruto said to no one in particular as he went to leave, before seeing the training team passed out from nosebleeds. He looked in confusion before grabbing Hanak and heading towards the academy. He had to tell the old man about this. The academy seemed to loom over the kid, with the Konoha symbol proudly shown at the front. And within its walls also hosted the Hokage's office, which consisted of a desk stacked with paperwork, and that is where we find ourselves now. Naruto grinned as he burst into the office. Old man. Landlord-san taught me something really cool and passed out from how cool it was when I did it. Naruto said as the third mentally cried happily. Finally something to distract me from paperwork. Thank you, Naruto. Wait, what's that about Hanak passing out? The Hokage looked in confusion as Naruto's words sank in, his eyes gravitating towards the unconscious Hanak, who still had traces of blood coming from his nose. Hiruzen started looking worried as he looked back at Naruto. Why did he pass out? He asked slowly out of concern, only to see Naruto's grin growing. Oh Kami, what pain have I unleashed upon myself just now? He thought as his gut screamed that something was about to go horribly wrong. Naruto's hands were slowly weaving through hand signs before he shouted. Sexy hinge jutsu. Naruto yelled as the Hokage face palmed. What has he been teaching the kid, he thought out of exasperation until he saw Naruto. So what do you think? Naruto air kissed as the blood gushed out his nose, sending him backwards. Naruto grinned as he removed the hinge. Heh, this really works. Even the old man can't beat it. Naruto said proudly as the third wiped his nose and pleaded for Naruto not to talk about it. Maybe Naruto teased as the Hokage coughed and called security. Hey. Old man. What's that for? Naruto asked as Kakashi came in with a bored expression on his face. In reality, Kakashi was laughing his butt off, but couldn't show it out of respect for the two men that fell victim to Naruto's technique. Hey Naruto, what's this new technique of yours? Kakashi asked as the third begged him not to show it. Naruto's grin grew. Oh, it's nothing, Naruto said with a glint towards the Hokage. Kakashi chuckled a bit as well before deciding to spare the third Hokage from further embarrassment. Okay then, well, seeing as Hanak is down for the count, I think I can help out a bit for the rest of the day. Still impressive how you came up with the jutsu after his terrible execution of it. I bet you can improve upon it as well to make it even more powerful, but that's for another day. Kakashi stated calmly as Naruto looked at him with bright curious eyes, before looking crestfallen for some reason. Sorry I did that to them, the old man still has important paperwork to do, and Hanak was supposed to teach me Taijutsu and start teaching me some shinobi history. Naruto seemed oddly remorseful of his actions as Kakashi sighed. It's fine, it taught them not to underestimate you now, didn't it? Kakashi seemed to smile as he ruffled Naruto's hair. I'll help out with the training for today as Hanak and the Hokage recover from your jutsu. Kakashi said as Naruto's mood immediately improved. But know that I'm going to push you hard and far with this, don't let me down. Kakashi warned as Naruto nodded. And so began the most exhausting day of his life. Kakashi did not lie when he said he would push the kid and pushed him into doing tons of physical exercise. Kakashi also began teaching him the beginning of chakra control, which he sucked at as the leaf kept moving away from his forehead, much to Naruto's annoyance. Kakashi said to keep practicing until he got it down, and soon after, the day ended. This routine kept itself up for the next few months of just practice, training, and spending more and more time with Hanak and Kakashi when he actually showed up for the training. He still teased the Hokage here and there and actually found out about his crystal orb when the Hokage didn't hear him sneak in one day. Before they knew it, a month went on by. Naruto's Taijutsu was getting to a really good level, enough to compete with most genin, while he was able to control the leaf a bit, especially with Naruto's massive chakra pool. It wasn't perfect, but it was better than Kakashi expected since many struggled with the exercise. He started learning a bit about shinobi history, but it was clear that Naruto didn't like this as much as time went on. He was a very active child, so Kakashi could practically hear the boredom that radiated off of Naruto as he listened to Hanak talk about shinobi history. He decided to change it up after about a week of no progress. How about instead of just hearing about the shinobi history, we play it out? Kakashi asked, to the confusion of Naruto. Kakashi sighed. We reenact the history lesson of the day and think about what the person would have done in the situation, given their personality and characteristics. Kakashi explained as Naruto looked actually interested, much to the surprise of Hanok as they nodded. Okay, so we were talking about the battle of Hashirama and Madara, two friends with opposing views. Madara only cared for power and tended to use vicious means to get it, while Hashirama was more like you. He cared for his friends and wanted to create an era of peace between people. He was a leader and the first Hokage of the village hidden in the leaves. So when they went to the Valley of the End, their ideals, goals, and methods finally came to a head. Hashirama wanted Madara to stop his plans to conquer and destroy the world, while Madara wanted to get Hashirama out of the way. The two decided to fight with neither able to get ahead. Kakashi explained the lesson as Naruto instinctively connected to Hashirama's character. Before he knew it, his mouth opened. Madara. It doesn't have to be this way. Just head back, all will be forgiven as long as you quit this obsession of yours. Naruto said, the words coming effortlessly. Kakashi looked shocked as he played along, not sure how to feel about the confusion found on Naruto's face. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Hashirama, but I already hold the power needed to reshape this world. No more hate and misery will taint this world again. Kakashi said as Naruto seemed to not think that's what Madara had said for some reason unknown to himself. That's not true. Your idea of a world will destroy love and happiness as well as hate and misery, it's not real. How can you even call that a world worth living in? Madara. Naruto yelled, his hands reaching towards his kunai for a reason that escaped him. Thankfully, Kakashi only had given him a training kunai, but the threat still stood clear. Hanok looked concerned, while Kakashi just looked surprised. HMPH, if that's how it'll be then come at me, Hashirama, let's finish this once and for all. Kakashi wasn't even talking at this point in Naruto's eyes, as Naruto's surroundings faded around him. He was on top of the twin peaks that would eventually become the Madara and Hashirama statues as Hashirama himself, facing the younger Madara. He dashed towards Madara with his kunai out as he was blocked by Madara's own kunai. It doesn't have to be like this. You can still come back. Hashirama and Naruto said in unison. Madara scoffed in disbelief. I'm back to being scorned, hated for my eyes. Thanks, but I'll pass. Madara said, but some part of Naruto still said that was wrong. The words changed, there's no way I can return at this point. I haven't reached my goal, and I will never return to that place. Madara said instead. Hashirama leaned back with gritted teeth. Then I'll make you see a reason, Madara. I'll bring you back if it's the last thing I do. Hashirama said, flashing through signs that Naruto himself copied. Wood release. Wood dragon jutsu. A giant wood dragon came out and went towards Madara, who quickly dodged, only to get blasted away from the explosion it caused. A hand landed on Naruto's shoulder as the scene faded away back to Hanok's apartment. Naruto blinked in confusion. What happened to Madara? I was just fighting him, Naruto asked, mostly confused himself as Kakashi sighed. Did you just see the battle between Hashirama and Madara? Kakashi asked out of exasperated confusion as Naruto nodded. He repeated the signs that had summoned the wood dragon and yelled the jutsu name again to nothing happening. I assume that was the technique he had started the fight with? Kakashi asked this time. Naruto nodded again as Hanok and Kakashi looked at each other. It was weird, it was like I was Hashirama. When you were talking, it felt like I could hear the words that Madara actually said. It was weird. Naruto admitted in confusion. Let's try this again some other time, we don't know what would happen if you got attacked by Madara when you go into this state. You came at me with kunai as if in a trance. You might hurt someone if it happens, but I think it's only limited to Hashirama, since you two have very similar goals and characteristics. Maybe you just relate heavily to him. Hanok said, as Naruto hesitated before shaking his head. Whatever it is, I can't let it hurt me. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. My dream is to be the next Hokage and make everyone become friends with everyone and end the fighting, and nothing is going to change that fact. Not an hour later. Naruto put his thumb on his heart. And I swear on that. He grinned as Hanok sighed in relief. Kakashi ruffled Naruto's hair. Yup, now get some rest, it's been a long day. It's already nearly time for you to go to bed. He said as Naruto smiled. Okay, see you later, landlord-san. Kakashi-san. Naruto waved goodbye as he went to his apartment. As soon as they heard Naruto's apartment door open and close, both of them visibly relaxed. What the did he actually? Hanok was still trying to come to terms with what Naruto had said as Kakashi leaned back, mask off as he sighed. I don't even know, but if there's one thing I know about Naruto, he's going to surprise people. I managed to capture the signs that he used, and I'm thinking of taking it to Tenzo to see if Naruto was right. If he was, then I don't even know. At that point, Kakashi admitted aloud, afraid of a wooden dragon actually coming out if Tenzo performed the jutsu. He hoped that Naruto was wrong, or else there would be dozens of questions. This is an S-ranked confidentiality conversation at this point. Probably, we can't let someone find out about that at any costs. Kakashi stated to the nodding of Hanok. Most definitely, my lips are sealed. Hopefully it's just a crazy imagination, but I doubt it would be that simple honestly, Hanak sighed as he said it. Kakashi had to agree as he put his mask back up. Well, I better get going. I need to test this and hope that it's just the crazy ramblings of imagination. Tenzo had been unable to recreate Hashirama's wood dragon jutsu as he didn't know how to do it, so if Naruto's right on this, Kakashi sighed out of exasperation. This will be one crazy week for us all. Kakashi finished out of frustration as he shunshined out of the area towards the academy. Hanak looked towards Naruto's apartment in worry, hoping that he was wrong for his own sake. The night passed in tension as Naruto finally fell asleep, having only heard mumbling and being unable to understand it. Kurama on the other hand, understood the words and looked towards Naruto in curiosity. Apparently, I was right to help you out here. Who knows what would have happened had I not stopped you back there that one day. Kurama wondered aloud as Naruto found himself in front of a giant fox, within wooden gate separating the two. Where am I? Naruto asked out of confusion. I'm that voice you kept hearing. Kurama shrugged. Naruto looked a bit confused, but it soon turned to awe. You look awesome. Naruto said as Kurama smirked a bit from the praise. I mean you're a giant fox, and it looks awesome. Kurama, right? Naruto sheepishly laughed as Kurama nodded. Let's be friends. Naruto suddenly said with a grin as Kurama shrugged. Sure, but I'm only going to help a bit, no sense of helping too much and destroying your body from chakra overload. Kurama casually said, enjoying the fear that went over Naruto's face. Wait, what now? Naruto said quickly, unable to hide the fear in his voice. Relax, I'm not going to do that. I'm actually pretty curious about helping you, but right now you're nowhere near strong enough to remove this seal and the like, so I can only help you a tiny bit. I'm not going to do anything to put you in danger or anything, you know. Kurama laughed from Naruto's fidgeting. Oh, okay. He said as Kurama turned around a bit. Now get some rest, I don't like your alarm clock blaring while you sleep still. Kurama seemed to glare a bit as Naruto sheepishly laughed again. Kurama let the word sink in as Naruto's eyes widened, looking very much like a deer in the headlights of a car. Oh, Kami, you were the one who yelled wake up all those times, were you? Naruto realized as Kurama grinned viciously. Naruto gulped as he slowly walked away. Kurama rolled his eyes at Naruto's childishness. Relax, for crying out loud. I'm not going to hurt you or anything. We're friends, right? Kurama asked as Naruto nodded, holding his fist out. Kurama looked at it in confusion, having not seen him do this before. It's called a fist bump apparently. I saw Choji and Shikamaru do it before to show that they're friends, so I want to try it. Naruto said as Kurama brought up his paw and pushed Naruto's fist with it. A smile went to both of their faces as Naruto faded from the area, falling asleep in happiness. Kurama was content, but was still going to yell at him if he didn't wake up to his alarm. Kurama didn't know why he was so nice to this human, but he scoffed at his thoughts. Who cares at this point, he was interesting and still finding new ways to surprise him. His ego still inflated a bit from being called awesome. Kurama fell asleep with a smile on his face. The night came and went, with both Naruto and Kurama having sweet dreams, until an alarm blared once more to signal it being 8 o'clock. Naruto smacked the snooze button a bit harder than he meant to, but still sleepily. Kurama nearly yelled before he yawned and got up. Well, I'll be. Kurama grinned as Naruto shrugged. Yeah, Kurama, I'm actually getting up for once, I know. Naruto dismissed the words as Kurama snickered a bit. Wonder how long this will last. Will the world be destroyed? Will the moon turn out to be an ancient goddess hell-bent on making all the chakra in the world hers? Kurama asked mockingly as Naruto couldn't help but laugh. Yeah, right. Naruto laughed out as he made his way to the mirror. Both him and Kurama looked and blinked. Did I always have these markings on my face? My eyes look a bit different too. Naruto looked confused as Kurama shrugged, both noting that Naruto's body did that too. Wait, how did you do that? Are you able to control my body now? Naruto asked out of confusion. How am I supposed to know? This is news to me too. Kurama replied, equally confused as Naruto in this mess. Well, whatever the case, let's just be careful on that, we still got training to do. Right, Kurama? Naruto asked to receive a nod from Kurama. I guess I just get to train alongside you now, how troublesome, as a certain Nara would say. Kurama snickered out, both feeling a bit uneasy seeing the expression and action mirrored on Naruto's face in the mirror. Yeah, meeting Shikamaru was an experience, wasn't it? Naruto snickered himself, before noting the time. Oh no. We're running behind. He nearly yelled as he hurried along with his shower and getting clothes and ready, before heading to meet Kakashi and Hanak in Training Field 7. Apparently, the people of Training Field 2 no longer wanted Naruto around, so Kakashi offered the training field that was reserved for himself. At least that's the official version. It turns out that the people of Training Field 2 wanted to see the sexy hinge jutsu more for some purposes that Kakashi, Hanak, and Kurama didn't want Naruto to know, so they moved to Training Field 7 in private. You're late. Hanukkah smirked as Naruto tried sneaking into the field. Also, if you wanted to sneak, go around the back and enter through the trees. It might have made you late, but you could claim that you were there the whole time and I just didn't notice. Then again, you would need the tree walking jutsu mastered before you can do that now, don't you? Hanukkah's smirk stayed while Naruto gave an annoyed pout. Not my fault the tree decides to make me slip off. He pouted as Hanukkah chuckled. So where's Kakashi-sensei? You call him by his name and sensei, yet I'm still landlord-san. Hanukkah pouted as Naruto rolled his eyes. Okay Hanukkah. Naruto dragged it out, seeing the hopeful look on Hanukkah's face. He smirked. San. Both of them burst out laughing from the clear baiting Naruto was pulling. Still better than landlord-sen, I guess. Hanukkah laughed out. So what if I call you landlord-sensei? Naruto couldn't resist as Hanukkah bonked him. Nah, use Hanukkah-sensei or Hanukkah-san. Hanukkah said as Naruto rolled his eyes. Hi. Naruto dismissed as the two laughed again. The laughter slowly faded out as Naruto looked somewhat annoyed with a side of worry, but seriously, where's Kakashi-sensei? Usually he's here by now. Naruto asked as Hanukkah sighed. He's probably not showing up today. He had an important mission come up last night and told me to just have you keep practicing the mini fist plate style and your tree walking skill. He figures if you have your chakra control up. Hanukkah lied effortlessly as Naruto sighed and finished the sentence. Then I can learn the jutsu during my time in the academy, correct? Naruto asked in what appeared to be pure practice and sarcasm rolling off his tongue. Hanukkah nodded with a smile. Yup. So let's get to work. With one final nod from Naruto, the two went a bit further in where they saw another kid around Naruto's age, struggling and failing the tree walking challenge. His black hair seemed to spike up in random directions, but the symbol on his back was unique. Naruto looked in confusion, having never seen the symbol before, other than when they were heading towards the Akimichi restaurant. Hey. What are you doing here? Naruto yelled carelessly. The boy seemed to ignore him as the tree launched him off again. Naruto growled in annoyance, but Kurama simply watched the two. Good entertainment didn't come cheap and he was interested in what would happen. Naruto tried to run up to the kid, who went for a punch. Naruto ducked and swept him instead. The boy tried getting back up, but had a kunai placed right above his neck. Now talk, what are you doing here? Naruto demanded, but the boy simply HMPH''D. Why should I tell you, you're annoying. The boy answered as he tried to grab the kunai, to which Naruto moved it down south with a menacing grin on his face. The boy's eyes grew in terror. Oh okay, I was just watching you practice that tree walking thing and wanted to try it. He said, not wanting Naruto to press down where he was. Naruto smirked victoriously. See, was that so hard? Naruto asked sarcastically before jumping back. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, what's your name? He extended a hand out to the boy as the boy instead swatted it away and got up himself, annoying Naruto in the process. HMPH, nothing you need to know. The boy tried as Naruto had a glint appear in his eyes. He grabbed the kunai menacingly. Really now? Naruto asked, becoming angry at the arrogance that the boy was portraying. Really now? I seem to remember a certain little you that was just as arrogant. Maybe you're mad at him for being like how you used to be. Kurama wasted no time with a jab as Naruto groaned a bit. I mean you're not wrong, but he's acting like he's better than everyone else. I never did that. Naruto countered as Kurama rolled his eyes in disbelief. Yeah right mister, I'm going to be the next Hokage, believe it. Isn't that acting better, just via words and not actions? Kurama struck back as Naruto didn't have a response that time. It's fine in the end, just don't get hypocritical on me. Frankly, this kid's getting on my nerves too. Kurama admitted with a shrug. Oh okay, geez. No need to threaten it twice, you stuck-up prick. The boy said as Naruto's eyes twitched a bit, having never moved the kunai from where he jumped back. The boy didn't notice nor care. It's Sasuke Uchiha, and I frankly don't care if you stay or go, just leave me alone already. Sasuke seemed to pout as he continued the exercises. Naruto growled a bit in annoyance. Hey, how about you learn some manners? I'm going to be the next Hokage, believe it. What's with the constant dismissal of my presence, huh? Naruto finally had enough of the attitude that Sasuke was portraying. Kurama's eye twitched as he was annoyed after just telling him to not get hypocritical. You, the Hokage? Yeah, right, that'll never happen. Sasuke dismissed as Naruto went to punch him. Sasuke leaned against the punch and quickly flipped Naruto over, surprising Naruto in the process. Hanukkah watched as the two went at it with each other with a chuckle and a smirk. Rivals tended to help progress by a lot, and seeing that both were around equal footing, even though the two never admitted it, was perfect motivation to push them both forward. He couldn't help being worried by Sasuke's name, though the Uchiha. That's the younger brother of Itachi. Oh boy, that's going to be interesting to watch. Hanukkah sighed as he watched the two bicker and help each other improve. Hanukkah had heard about the unrest in the Uchiha clan and the talks of revolution. Even the third Hokage was worried about a civil war breaking out, but if Naruto could befriend and get Sasuke off that path, it would be for the best. Hanak decided to just stay back and watch, waiting for Kakashi to get done with the test. Hours passed by as the two challenged each other to insane task after task to prove their worth. Eventually, they set their sights to a race to the top of the tree, and both were making good progress now based on the rivalry. Before Naruto could barely break halfway, and now he was nearly 75% of the way there, with Sasuke not so far behind him. Kakashi walked on by with Tenzo behind him. Hanak groaned a bit at the sight. "Oh, Kami. It's S rank now, isn't it?" Hanak whispered pitifully as Kakashi nodded with the same resentment towards it. "Hey Naruto, Sasuke. Take a break for a bit, we got guests." Hanak shouted as the two ignored the order, instead continuing their race to the top of the tree. "No way. I'm going to beat him and show him that I'm stronger." Naruto shouted back to the annoyance of Hanak. "If you don't get here now, no visits to Uncle Choza." Hanak said as Naruto grabbed Sasuke and jumped off the tree. Hey, what's the big idea?" Sasuke yelled as he tried escaping Naruto's grip. Kurama smirked and added a bit more strength to it. He had grown to appreciate the food Choza always put out, and he wasn't going to let this stuck-up brat ruin that. "Yes, Hanak-sensei." Naruto acted super obedient to the point that Hanak couldn't resist laughing a bit from the sight. Choza's food worked wonders at creating a threat against Naruto. Thankfully, Naruto didn't eat it all the time, so he didn't have to get as bad as the Akimichi, and he still ate ramen most of the time, just not all the time anymore. Naruto seemed a lot healthier as a result of this and didn't look so malnourished. He had even grown a few inches as a result, however, he had the start of the Akimichi gut as well, much to their equal annoyance. Naruto's eyes wandered a bit before meeting Tenzo's in confusion. "Hi." Naruto asked out of confusion, much to Sasuke's snickers. Naruto accidentally pushed him to the ground, which started another fight as a result. Hanak bopped both of their heads before it got too bad. "Yamato here is a user of wood release and wanted to test something that you had said before, Naruto." Kakashi cautiously explained, not wanting Sasuke to be a part of this discussion. Sadly, the boy refused to leave and instead looked at Yamato Tenzo as if they were challenges to be overcome. Yamato took no mind to this and instead looked at Naruto. "Now Naruto, do you remember the signs?" Naruto shook his head to Kakashi's question. "Well, I had and told Yamato here about them, let's see the result." Kakashi smirked a bit, unseen by Naruto or the others. Yamato used the proper hand signs a bit slowly as he yelled, "Wood release. Wood dragon jutsu." A wooden dragon, smaller than Hashirama's, came out as Naruto looked in awe. "I told you I saw it happen." Naruto looked downright proud, even though both Hanak and Kakashi looked downcast. "Why are you guys so sad, did you not believe me?" Naruto asked as the two shook their heads with identical sighs. "It's not that, it's more we didn't want you to be right. Since now that puts a heavy burden on you to help Yamato out as well as keeping this a secret from others. It puts a huge target on your back that we can't let others find out about lest you get hunted by the world." Hanak explained. Naruto looked afraid now and could understand what they meant. Well, maybe it was a fluke. Naruto seemed downright scared at this point, having learned about the power scales that ninjas could eventually get to. He was just 7 for crying out loud. "Sadly, no one would believe that you just so happened to find one of the long-lost techniques of Hashirama on a fluke, it's too unbelievable." Kakashi countered as Naruto sighed in defeat. "Then I have to get stronger and get the strength to protect myself and Kurama," Naruto said with a grin, not noticing the flinches from Kakashi, Hanak, and Tenzo. Sasuke looked a bit confused at the three, but they quickly hid the expression. "Who's Kurama? The only thing this kid has in him is a stupid amount of stubborn guts, probably just some imaginary friend or something knowing this idiot." Sasuke thought to himself with rolled eyes. He was not a fan of his so-called rival, at most, he was a nuisance he could do without. The day ended soon after that for the most part as Sasuke tried to split from the group, to which Naruto ran over to his new friend. "How about I walk you home? No one should be out by themselves," Naruto said with a grin, to which Sasuke ignored him. He tried again before Sasuke slapped his hand away. "Hey, what's the big idea?" "I'm just trying to be nice," Naruto yelled. "What are you talking about? You threatened my life twice in a row. Why would I ever want to be friends with you?" Sasuke screamed back, he turned and ran away, unaware that Naruto had tears coming out of his eyes. Naruto vaguely noticed the tears and the touch to his shoulder. "Don't worry, Naruto, he'll come around, he's just not used to the idea of friends yet." Although, he did have a point given you threatened his balls twice back there. Hanak tried to reassure him, knowing how painful it was. Naruto numbly nodded, wiping his tears before following along. The night went by slowly as Naruto kept thinking about what he could have done better. Even Kurama was silent, trying to find out why the kid felt familiar to him. He vaguely remembered the Uchiha clan, but his memories have been spotty since his time with Kushina. He sighed as a result, knowing that Naruto needed some help. He just didn't feel like he could be the one to give it out. The door creaked open, but surprisingly enough, it wasn't Naruto's. "Naruto. wake up. Kurama yelled, something was wrong about this. Naruto jolted awake from his friend's words as he rushed outside due to Kurama's yell, seeing Hanek's door open. He rushed towards the door in fear and looked towards the room. Hanek sat at his desk, facing the door for future apartment owners. Naruto screamed his name before he noticed the red that surrounded Hanek's body. As well as the fact that Hanek wasn't moving at all. Hanek. Naruto screamed to the heavens, having many of the neighbors waking up from the noise. Kakashi himself also came over and upon seeing Hanek, instructed everyone to head back to their rooms, closed the room off, and stared at Naruto. Naruto. Kakashi swiftly said to the crying kid. Naruto was unresponsive. Naruto, we'll get to the bottom of this, I swear it, but you have to calm down. He tried again to no avail. Naruto's eyes shifted a bit. What were once pure blue eyes with a shade of crimson shifted to have a swirl of the colors, with neither color able to see on top. Violet eyes stared at Kakashi. Who did this to him? Why? He was an honest man, why was he murdered? Kurama and Naruto yelled at Kakashi, but all Kakashi did was swiftly knock Naruto out in response. I don't know but we'll get to the bottom of this. Kakashi said to the unconscious kid, happy no one was around to see their tears. I promise you we'll solve this. He continued on, mostly to himself. Chapter 2. Ramen is the answer to everything. Shock. That was the best way to describe how Naruto felt right now, as if 100 volts of electricity constantly ran through his body. Numbness spread through his body, to the point where not even Kurama, the famed nine-tails beast known for killing hundreds if not thousands of people, would talk either, the expression shared between the two. Kakashi was talking to Iruka, wanting to get Naruto away from Hanek's death. Don't shy away from it Naruto. Kurama placed with a bit colder of a tone than he personally intended. Death was barely the word to describe it, it was a downright massacre. Blood had sprayed his walls to the point that the image burned itself into Naruto's brain. He couldn't even break down or anything, as if the tears turned to stone in his eyes. Numbness spread as he felt himself being moved by someone. The world seemed to ripple itself away in favor for Kurama's cage. The caged fox watched as Naruto phased through the cage walls and sought comfort from him. Kurama sighed as he wrapped himself around the young boy, watching as he started bawling against his fur without a care in the world. Kurama wasn't really in the mood to care as he felt Naruto's body being led towards a room, sat down in front of a man with grey bangs that looked around the same age as Iruka. Kurama sighed as he looked back towards Naruto, who was hugging his fur and bawling some more, looking nowhere near stopping. The man coughed slightly, unaware that Naruto simply was not in control of the body at the moment and Kurama simply didn't want to control it without Naruto's permission. It felt wrong somehow, even thought some part of him demanded to kill Naruto and gain freedom, he just couldn't bring himself to it for some reason that eluded him. Was it in those missing memories of his? Even then would he want to kill Naruto if he got them? He shuddered a bit at the thought before turning his attention to the man to distract from his own troublesome thoughts. Naruto didn't even notice Kurama's turmoil as his bawling didn't stop. Kurama sighed a bit at this, my name is Mizuki, and I brought you here to see what you know of what happened to Hanek. Mizuki asked neutrally, no emotion at all portrayed upon his face, but Kurama knew better than that and saw the hidden rage that consumed him. He couldn't hide from a real beast like himself and was nothing in comparison. Kurama didn't like him one bit from his tone, but couldn't tell if that was from that weird bias of Naruto or whatever it was that made Kurama care for the boy or if it was from his own distaste for liars. Either way, the fact remained he really didn't like the man. Kurama stayed silent as Mizuki growled lightly from annoyance, are you even listening? He snapped quickly, but still to no response. He walked towards Naruto as Kurama growled in warning. The man rose an eyebrow and a smirk grew upon his face. Mizuki walked towards Naruto once more. You touch Naruto and I will rip you apart slowly and painfully. Kurama snarled out as Mizuki leaned back in preparation of grabbing Naruto and shaking him. Mizuki visibly flinched back before the smirk returned upon his face. Oh ho ho, so you really are the he tried to say before Iruka slammed the door before glaring daggers at Mizuki. Kakashi stood a bit behind Iruka, looking at his book that even Kurama couldn't hide a tick of disgust over seeing, but was still openly paying attention to Mizuki. And what do you think you're doing Mizuki? We've been trying to find Naruto ever since he had went to the bathroom, so why is he here? Iruka said, much to Kurama's surprise. They went to the bathroom. God, the shock was worse than he thought to make it where he wasn't even aware of his host's movements. Mizuki quickly put a smile on his face that caused another growl to come out from Kurama, who was struggling to contain his weird hatred for the man, while also trying to comprehend said hatred. I had found him standing still outside the bathroom, I figured I'll bring him here and ask what happened with Hanek. Mizuki calmly explained as if he wasn't threatening to punch Naruto and Kurama mere seconds ago. Iruka sighed in relief, but looked at Naruto in concern. Kurama scoffed at the idea of him believing this man, but found himself unable to disprove any of it. Mizuki walked out of the room as Iruka walked up to Naruto. Are you okay Naruto? Iruka asked out of concern as Kurama shook his head. Sadly Naruto isn't okay, for now I'm helping him out. He's pretty messed up after last night and is currently bawling his eyes out on me. Kurama admitted, much to the shock of Iruka. Relax, I have personal stakes of helping him out. I'm not going to go out of control and stuff, but watch out on that Mizuki guy. He looked like he was about to harm Naruto before smirking when I interrupted him. I trust you enough to know of me, so don't betray that trust. Kurama continued as Iruka nodded firmly, now knowing that Kurama was on their side. He didn't fully trust him, but he trusted him enough with Naruto's well-being. Okay, Iruka seemed to pause as Kurama rolled his eyes. Kurama, now can we get on with it? Kurama answered sharply, noticing the flinch from Iruka. He sighed, he didn't want to scare him. Sorry, I guess I also just want to rip apart whoever did that to that man. He apologized, much to the shock of Iruka. Kurama could apologize. Kurama snorted, fully knowing what Iruka probably was thinking as Iruka stuttered a bit before coughing. Oh okay Kurama, well we're thinking of adding a new edition called Pre-Academy Level, as to start the academy a year earlier to prepare kids towards the academy. We were thinking of enrolling Naruto into its first year if that's okay with you. Is it? Iruka asked as Kurama seemed to ponder. They were asking him over this? Heck, they were asking if that was okay with him. The irony wasn't lost upon the demon fox as he struggled to not burst out laughing at it. Give me a bit, stay put. Kurama instructed Iruka in the most neutral of tones, who nodded as he saw the eyes fade away towards a soulless gaze again, inferring that was probably when neither soul was in control of the body. Kurama's gaze had a sharp crimson overlaying the blue undertone, while Naruto's was the exact opposite look, with a sky blue overlaying a deep crimson red. He chuckled a bit from that. They were basically two souls in the same body, working together. It nearly made him forget that Kurama was responsible for tons of murdered folk with how he treated Naruto nearly. Kurama on the other hand was back towards Naruto, who still balled on his fur. He raised a paw and tried gently laying it on Naruto, who looked up towards the fox demon, tears still rolling down his face. Naruto, Iruka was wanting to ask something. I talked to him a bit and he was wanting to offer you to be enrolled in the academy a year early. Kurama started, noting that Naruto was immediately trying to protest. He held up a paw finger in a universal sign of wait. I know you want to find Honok's killer. Naruto nodded firmly at this, wiping his tears a bit as he did it, but you need to get better as well. Think of it this way. You can use the time at the academy to be able to look around for clues about it. You got me here and I'm sure if you ask that old fart and grey head, you can get some help around it. It'll be a good experience for you to also make new friends. Maybe Choji will be there too. Kurama listed out, watching the once tearful face slowly become more and more excited, leading a smile to reach its way onto both of their faces. And no, you aren't skipping out on Choza days. He makes good food that I know you like too. I'm not letting you skip out on your meals. He winked with a hearty laugh that most would find terrifying and a sharp grin to meet it. However, to Naruto, it was a sense of safety that came from it, a sense of home. Now go on, Iruka's probably getting tired waiting on you. Kurama said as Naruto nodded with a grin, finally fading away from the caged area. Kurama felt two presences nearby in the cage and looked towards the seal, but couldn't see a thing. He looked confused for a bit, but shrugged it off. Probably wasn't anything important. Naruto? Iruka asked as he saw the blue eyes fill back those gray tinted eyes. Naruto blinked a bit before grinning. Did I worry ya? Naruto asked to the laughter of Iruka, who proceeded to hug him. Iruka-sensei? He asked in confusion before hugging him back. Soon Iruka moved back with a sheepish look on his face. Naruto looked as if he just remembered something. Kurama was saying you wanted to enroll me in some pre-academy thingamabobber, right? Sign me up. Naruto grinned with a thumbs up, completely missing the shocked look on Iruka's face fade into a content smile. So the 9 Kurama really can take control here and there, but looks to be really nice to Naruto, even comforting him. I should take them to the Hokage. Iruka thought to himself, finishing with a determined nod. Hey you too, can I take you to the Hokage? I might be able to pull a few strings to get you and a few friends of yours in it. We just need both of you to help out. That okay? Iruka asked as the colors in the eyes seemed to combine into a deep violet, as if the two layers swirled together, but neither said a word, just nodding with a smile. As soon as it had appeared, it moved back towards Naruto's blue. Okay then let's get going, okay? Iruka said with a smile as he led Naruto out of the room, Naruto looking towards Mizuki, who only smiled towards him. Naruto smiled back, not entirely sure why Kurama seemed suspicious of the man. He didn't look that bad. Iruka led the two, towards the great big tower in the middle of the academy. Soon they traveled up a spiral staircase and were beckoned in by the Hokage himself. The room looked neat, organized. Just the same as other times Naruto had visited it, yet there were a few extra additions added to it. One was the great giant stack of papers that covered the desk that he sat at. The second was the hat he wore wasn't on, instead it had been put on the chair as if he took it off for a break. Iruka and Naruto carefully sneaked around the desk to see, as well as hear, the Hokage snoring away in sleep. Naruto's eyes carried a glint as he grinned, bringing out a marker. Usually Iruka would say something to stop him, in fact he thought about doing so this time too, but even he was slightly annoyed that the Hokage snored away on such an important day. Tomorrow they would be graduating the academy students to see who passed, failed, or would be placed in different fields. It was a hard day for everyone and to see him snoring insulted Iruka with envy. He put his hand on Naruto's shoulder and nodded. Naruto had froze for just a second before his grin grew into a look of menacing pranksterism. He silently uncapped the black marker. Naruto avoided the hat, but nothing else survived the wrath of the markers carrying Naruto. The papers were the last ones touched as Kurama himself had a plan for that. But the Hokage's clothes, face, neck, arms, almost everything in the room was acceptable grounds for Naruto's marker. At the very end, he walked in front of the desk and smirked. He slowly did the signs for a jutsu he didn't know, but Kurama explained to him and at the end took a deep breath. Iruka's eyes grew as he walked away, having recognized it with a chuckle. Never knew that Kurama was a prankster as well, those two really are the same. He guessed it was Kurama who showed him the jutsu as Naruto blew out the breath, causing a light wind, but a strong enough wind to knock the papers clean off the table, all towards the sleeping Hokage. Sadly the poor man still slept, much to the annoyance of Naruto, who took a deep breath, went straight to the Hokage's ear, and performed the jutsu again. He jolted with a shiver rushing down his back from it, before noticing the room in a mess, as Naruto was finishing another jutsu he knew well. Naruto grinned as Sarutobi was struck with the power of Naruto's sexy henge jutsu yet again. Blood splat from his nose in a rush as he fell backwards, passed out. Iruka hastily looked away in time, but even he couldn't hide the start of a nosebleed that came on. Naruto burst out laughing from the well-timed jutsu strike, while Iruka just groaned in annoyance. Great, now we get to wait until he wakes up again, Iruka whined, before looking at Naruto with a sigh. Ramen. He suggested as Naruto responded with a resounding yahoo. The fact that it didn't wake Sarutobi scared Iruka more than he wished, knowing that it wasn't him actually dying or anything but still being disappointed over him falling for such an obvious henge transformation. The two of them moved to leave, talking about grabbing ramen, but then Sarutobi groaned. Both Naruto and Iruka glanced at each and slowly, as if they were the second hands of a clock, ticked their heads towards where Sarutobi was. The man deadpanned at the two as they mechanically, tentatively, walked back on over to the man. "Old man?" Naruto asked bravely, only receiving an annoyed glance from the man. He soon fell silent aside from the mental laughter from Kurama and himself. Wow, he looks absolutely stunning with that. What's that phrase everyone says but never really means, Naruto? Kurama was laughing, nearly panting from it, as he asked Naruto. Teamwork makes the dream work. He suggested, much to Kurama's amusement. Yeah, that thing. Fa, that was good. We sure showed him, Mr. Old Important Fart. Kurama seemed to slur with his laughter. Naruto didn't dare think it, but Kurama was onto him as he glanced, nearly glaring, at the young boy. He quickly looked away towards the window, surprising Sarutobi with a look of fear on his face. Yes, Naruto? Sarutobi asked, not expecting the response Naruto would give in response, though it looked like Naruto failed to hear him. Kurama, stop acting like you're drunk already. I'm trying to not laugh in front of the old man. Naruto suddenly yelled out, much louder than he intended, but Iruka had expected this, having activated the placed privacy seals quickly when they walked over towards the window. Naruto's eyes soon turned gray again, as Naruto ran from an very annoyed Kurama. I'm not drunk, you brat, get back here. Kurama blurted out next, as they noticed the eye color seemed to shift from blue to red over and over again in a certain rhythm. Kurama, stop chasing me already, we're making a scene. Naruto blurted out again as that seemed to stop the mental chase. Wait, what? OS, they can hear you as Kurama hid his curse well, surprised that they accidentally were using the mouth of the body. AGHH, Kurama. Now look at what you did. Naruto seemed to pout with a whine in his voice. Sarutobi couldn't help but try and hide his snickers at the two. Iruka wasn't faring much better himself in that department, as when Naruto yelled that out, it seemed to kickstart the chase all over again. Sarutobi and Iruka decided to let the two have their bit of fun while they talked, appreciating the entertainment and payback in terms of Sarutobi that Naruto and Kurama by extension gave him. I take it that this is what you wanted to tell me? Sarutobi smirked, gesturing towards the soulless body, currently occupied with its occupants chasing each other around, rather than messing with the body itself. Iruka rolled his eyes with a smirk when he noticed the multitude marks on Sarutobi's body. You have to admit, Iruka started, seeing a threatening glare from Sarutobi. He sheepishly laughed before changing subjects. That they make a good pair. Yeah, they seem to make a good pair, and it seems they're both becoming friends with each other. Iruka subtly changed the subject. Sarutobi chuckled a bit before continuing on. So it seems that unlike with that, Kurama and him seem to share the body, so to say. That'll make an interesting tale. Is there anything else you want to say? Sarutobi skipped over her name with a glance towards Naruto, who seemed to still be having a chase with Kurama, if the rapidly shifting eye colors were anything to say about it. The yelling seemed to finally go down to a whisper of the two yelling at each other, much to the amusement of the two next to him. Yes, Naruto wants to go ahead with the pre-academy decision. We should have the ones we were planning to put in next year all be in this program, if only so no one suspects the true purposes of it. Iruka explained, noticing Sarutobi seemed to sober up a bit from that news. Ah, indeed. Are you certain this is for the best? It would mean that we would have to keep this pre-academy level in, even past this year. We could run it as a testing program, but that might raise suspicions even higher. Sarutobi explained, but before Iruka could open his mouth, they turned to Naruto, who carried both of the eye colors in his eyes. He grinned. Of course it is. We won't let you down, you old man fart. The title seemed to be split between man and fart, and he had a pretty good feeling who said which given Naruto's history of nicknames. No need to call me an old fart, Kurama, but know that Naruto might be in danger if we do it. Are you certain about this? Sarutobi asked towards the Nine Tails, wanting to prove something that Kakashi and Hanak had placed in their reports once. If they want to try it, they would have to knock me dead before they get through me. I won't let anything harm Naruto. He's my charge and I'm not going to let him drop that easily, it would hurt my pride. Kurama seemed a bit undecided on the reason, but his motivations shone through with his words. Sarutobi's eyes, along with Iruka's, rose from the startling claim he made. So go ahead with that pre-academy whatever you call it stuff, I'll be training Naruto myself as well, so it's great to have regular humans get him started on the way there. I can only train him if he becomes strong enough to handle it, and right now he's too weak. I know the real reason you're doing this isn't at all related to getting us stronger and you're doing it because of that landlord fart, aren't you? We're helping out, regardless on if you accept it or not, so don't you dare try to stop us. Kurama growled near the end, still angry that he had let his guard down and gotten him killed. A small part of him wondered if he was losing his touch. Whatever happened to the great destroyer of Konoha? You're just a failure. He growled a bit more, mostly at himself as Sarutobi put his hand on his shoulder, shocking the two of them. Okay then, how about this? I'll let you work with Kakashi and find clues related to the academy, when Iruka and myself will look for clues towards the body and apartment. Until then, I'll be having you stay over at the Akimichi compound with your Uncle Choza. The uncle stuff is on purpose. Hanak meant uncle as part of Choza's name, while the Hokage means of it is just a standard uncle and not an extension of the name. Difference of intent. Well, we work with this. Also, please try to make friends with your classmates if possible, since 5 years is a long time together to go through and I never want to see you lonely, Naruto. You are a kind boy, even capable of converting Kurama. If anyone can do it, it's you. School will start the day after tomorrow, so just be aware of that. That'll get you more used to the home as well as for us to determine those that will be teaching your class. Sarutobi explained with a smile, ruffling the hair of Naruto, much to the two's chagrin. They still smiled in the end as Sarutobi continued, just please for the love of Kami, don't actually have your guts swell. Eat in moderation, Naruto. He sighed and mumbled out, much to the chuckling of the others present. The seals went down as it revealed both Kakashi and Tenzo Yamato, whatever he decided to call himself today, standing right at the edge of the seal. Kakashi looked up. Silence befell them until Tenzo smirked a bit. Do you need a wet wipe, Hokage-sama? He said calmly as laughter burst out from the group. Kakashi didn't show his laughter, and Tenzo looked like a stone brick. Well, he mentally laughed his butt off, but Sarutobi quickly saw through them as he unleashed unrivaled rage towards them all, quickly and effectively shooing them out of the room. The four stared each other as they heard Sarutobi slam the doom, mumbling about childish adults. The four started snickering as they walked away. That was some perfect timing, Yamato. Kakashi chuckled, seemed he was going by Yamato right now. I'm more surprised that he didn't immediately try to pound us into next week for that one. Kakashi admitted with a shrug. Naruto, as seen from the blue eyes currently shown, looked towards Kakashi. Yes, Naruto? Kakashi asked. Who do you need any? Naruto started, ending with a groan. Who do you think killed Hanat-sensei? Naruto asked before mumbling, might as well start with that one. The silence was baffling, and the question cleanly cut through the elated mood that was going through. A groan came from Kurama as he looked at Naruto. You really don't understand tact, do you? Kurama asked to Naruto's sheepish face. Sorry, Kurama. Kurama could only shake his head at this. Kakashi finally coughed, snapping their attention back to him. He sighed, trying to collect his thoughts before looking straight at Naruto. I don't know enough to even begin answering your question there, Naruto. And this really isn't something you should help with. Kakashi explained, putting a finger up when he saw the dual colors flare up in protest. Sadly, I have no choice but to accept your help. If Iruka isn't saying anything to agree with me saying to keep out of it. Kakashi sighed in annoyance. Honestly, I don't have any suspects yet, since we yet to even get to the autopsy, which might be delayed for quite a while. For some reason the doctors keep delaying it, and it's starting to get annoying. Sadly we don't have anything we can do to help with it, unless Kakashi said with a glint in his eyes that the dual-colored Naruto grinned too. Kakashi said nothing more, but Iruka continued on with a glare towards his superior. Not that I mind you helping, but you are not breaking into a hospital or anything. Don't you dare you too, if you get in trouble it will fall down on all of our Iruka tried to say as Kakashi covered his mouth. Iruka rolled his eyes, butts, all of our butts. He said sharply instead, try to find what you can without being illegal. I'll be checking the apartments later on to check on if we can find some evidence. Sadly, I bet someone already cleaned up the scene after you saw it, just to hide the evidence itself. Whoever it is has connections, but I managed to ask the Aburamas for some of their jutsu bugs in order to bug the room in case someone came and disturbed it. They agreed and left some there and told me a while ago that someone moved in, but proceeded to kill the bugs. By the time Anbu arrived to check it out, whoever it was gone. It's annoying, but I have to hope they left something behind. Iruka finished in annoyance from that fact. He groaned lightly before Kakashi stepped back into Naruto's attention. Now Naruto, Kurama, you know that this is going to be pretty dangerous, right? Whoever killed him is probably also after you guys. Heck, we don't even know why he died. Kakashi tried saying, seeing the dual colors sharpen themselves. So what? They shouted in union, halting Kakashi in his words, it doesn't matter what danger awaits us. We'll face it head on, believe it. They continued on as the eyes dulled a bit from that, as if the union was taxing upon them, which it probably was. They had seemed stronger during it, but it was still vastly incomplete between them. Kakashi and Iruka smiled from this. Yeah Naruto, we believe it, just be careful, okay? Iruka asked as he held a thumb to his chest once more. I swear I'll come back alive. Believe it. Naruto grinned as Yamato coughed, noting they were still in the stairwell this whole time. They finally got a move on, with Kakashi and Yamato deciding to wait a bit to make sure they weren't all caught together. He's one interesting kid. Yamato said bluntly, much to his partner's chuckles. He is indeed, Kakashi replied. Ramen. Naruto sang the word on repeat for the whole way over to the popular ramen shop that Iruka took him to. If Hanak was the one who introduced him to Yakiniku-Q, then Iruka would have been the one that introduced him to Ichiraku ramen, and as much as he liked Yakiniku-Q, he couldn't say that it beat Ichiraku ramen ever. He dug in immediately after his bowl was delivered. Kurama was the complete opposite, claiming that Yakiniku-Q was superior to Ichiraku ramen any day, which led to many fun-natured arguments between the two over the debate. So Naruto, what do you think about the pre-academy? You looking forward to it? Iruka asked as Naruto demolished his ramen bowls one after another, frightening Iruka as he had offered to pay. Oh Kami, he's going to run me dry. Iruka panicked as Naruto finally looked over to him after the fifth bowl, only because that had been the last of the original order. He had asked for more right after. My guess it's cool. I just don't really know how to feel when that means I would have to be in the academy for 5 whole years instead of 4. It just scares me a bit honestly 5 whole years, at that point I would be 12 years old and I might not be any closer to finding out what happened to Hanak. Naruto's hands rolled into fists, nearly scratching him if not for Kurama subtly moving them so he could focus on the conversation instead of healing. Iruka noticed this with a worried look on his face, not liking the fact that the usually hyperactive knucklehead Naruto was strangely remorseful, strangely silent, and most importantly playing around with his favorite ramen. He was losing the motivation to eat his ramen after the third bowl, with it taking longer and longer to finish up until right after this fifth one, even though he had asked for more. Iruka sighed as he noticed that he barely even ate any of his first bowl. The silence was deafening with that sigh, and Iruka didn't know what to say. Am, having noticed the two not eating, had walked over with the intent of yelling at them to eat or go before noticing the tense atmosphere that befell them. Iruka bit his lip lightly as he thought about what to say, only for them to hear Am herself sigh. Look, I might not know what's going on here, but I know you Naruto, you like to shoulder the guilt of everything that happens around you, even if it's too much for you to carry alone. Am started, looking towards the downcast Naruto, trust in them. They're only there to help you, not hinder you in any way. Am continued on, almost helpless in the situation. I know Naruto started, but Am wasn't done yet. If you know, then do it. I know you're better than this Naruto, you have the trust of so many people that if the villagers got off their idiotic ideals and actually got to know you, they wouldn't hate you, they would praise you as a hero. You have a heart of gold that drags people in, and while you don't have many yet, it's only going to grow and get stronger. I know it. So instead of feeling down about yourself and what you can't do, focus on what you can do instead. If you do that, then you will reach your goals in no time. Am smiled as she said it, happy that the smile and optimism was returning to Naruto's face who grinned in appreciation. Thanks Am. More ramen please. Naruto asked as AM nodded and went to work. Iruka smiled towards Naruto, happy to see him back to his normal happy self. It didn't matter what the world threw at him, he would take it, grow stronger, and use that strength to protect his friends and family. "One more bowl of ramen please," Iruka himself said, hearing a hi in reply as Naruto grinned at him, and Iruka smiled on back. The hours passed on by as the two enjoyed their ramen, and soon the sky had set and night had fallen. Iruka's wallet cried in pain as Iruka could only pay for some of the meal, with AM and Tucci putting the rest on Naruto's long-running tab, with an understanding pat to his back. Elsewhere in the village, near the academy. "You know your mission, correct?" A sinister voice seemed to hiss his words. Another person laid cased in the midnight moonlight as a very familiar character. "Of course, I won't let you down. Naruto won't graduate from the academy if I can help it." Mizuki answered back toward that shadowed figure, "You can trust me, Orochimaru." Mizuki grinned as he knelt down on the ground. "Quite." The newly dubbed Orochimaru hissed threatening at him, "We're in enemy territory, you idiot. We don't know who's watching us, now go." Orochimaru continued before the shadow disappeared into the ground, slipping out into the night. "Of course," Mizuki said with a smirk, even though Orochimaru himself was long gone. A kunai went towards a hidden Anbu agent, who fell down dead. "I'm well aware of idiots trying to interfere." He smirked before getting to work. Naruto yawned as he found himself in the cell-like room inside of him once again. He smiled as he looked at Kurama. "Hey Kurama." He waved as he got closer, noticing the worried look on his face. "What's wrong?" he asked. "I'm not sure exactly, just a gut feeling honestly." Kurama sighed, nearly sending Naruto into a panic over how tame Kurama was, which led to Kurama lightly, "That still hurt," bopping Naruto on the head. "Relax, no need to panic over something so insignificant. I called you here more so we could practice actually dragging your chakra out and using it in the form of jutsus. For the most part, you have a huge amount of personal chakra, not even including mine, but because of that, your chakra control sucks." Kurama casually and calmly stated, as if it was simple fact, which it was. As mad as Naruto was for bringing that up, Kurama was completely correct in his statement. No matter how much Kakashi and Hanok had trained him, his chakra control still remained almost completely terrible, to the point where he struggled with the leaves and tree climbing exercises. As cool as his race with Sasuke was, he had yet to be able to even go back all the way to the top since that day, and even halfway was a huge struggle. He had temporarily broke through his chakra control barriers that day, but not truly grown into using it. Naruto sighed in defeat, leading to a smirk to take Kurama's face, "And that's why we're here, in the center of your body. I'm going to teach you how your chakra network works, and since we're here, it should be much easier to control your chakra, since you're in the body itself and not outside." Kurama explained as Naruto nodded. He had felt powerful here for some reason, which if Kurama's statement was true, which it was, that made sense when put in that context. The chakra network is the system in which your body pumps its chakra around, going through to each part of your body. These have specific points of chakra, where the chakra is stored, powered up, and taken to whichever part of the body needs it the most. When you were doing tree climbing, it went to your feet. When you were trying to do the leaf exercise, it went to your head, then to your hands when you went for manipulating it around. It was a matter of which part needed it. Kurama began, before looking towards Naruto. Naruto was downright confused, it was so obvious it hurt Kurama, as that was the simplest part of the explanation to get through. A groan escaped Kurama as he asked him what he was confused about. "If the chakra points are where everything is stored and stuff, then where are we?" Naruto asked, surprising Kurama with how thoughtful it was. Well, we're in the very center, a chakra swirl that your father placed at your stomach in order to seal me at. It is at the very core of the network and integrates my chakra with yours." Kurama desperately hid the stutter, but saw the glint in Naruto's eyes. He glared harshly at Naruto as the boy wisely said nothing about it. "So this is the center of my chakra. Then why does it look so?" Naruto struggled to find the word for it, but Kurama had a pretty good guess as to what he meant. "Empty?" Kurama saw Naruto nod to that. "Well, that's because this is more a physical representation of the chakra field and is used to give a physical place to house me. The only reason it looks like this is because that's how it was designed in order to fit around my size and demeanor. Most chakra centers, or swirls, don't have a physical realm to step into, since it would just keep the chakra compressed and ready to use. You don't have to worry about that because of the insane of chakra we possess, thus it's much harder to control the chakra within you." Kurama explained, still seeing a slightly confused face on Naruto. "So basically because you're here, my chakra is forced into a physical form to house you, yet we have insane levels of chakra that make up for that, and those factors together make my chakra control so bad." Naruto summed it up as Kurama nodded. "Why didn't you say that to begin with?" Naruto yelled out of frustration, soon carefully backing up to a frustrated Kurama. "What do you think I've been trying to explain to you?" Kurama yelled back. Naruto screamed as the two chased each other for the remainder of the night. Chapter 3. pre-academy Hinata. Naruto didn't know how to feel as he woke up in the Akimichi compound. He looked around in confusion before seeing Choji as he opened the door, looking just as tired as he was. The day's the big day. What do you think about this whole pre-academy thing? Apparently it's more a new type of training in order to help prepare us for becoming genin. Choji said, Naruto having stopped him from grabbing chips from his bag as he talked. It was normal at this point between the two, as Choji tended to forget what he was talking about while he ate. Naruto let his arm go when he finished. I'm pretty excited honestly, but I can't help but being a bit nervous. Why suddenly create this right before the school year started? Heck, they even did it drastically earlier than usual, as a prereq program type deal to go into the school year itself. Naruto inferred, causing a wide-eyed Choji to look at Naruto in what looked like mock fear. Who are you and what have you done to Naruto? Choji seemed to gasp in shock as they both burst out laughing at the joke. Oh har har har. Naruto rolled his eyes as Choza decided now was the time to come out. He figured to let the two boys have their fun before revealing his presence. The two turned towards the large robust man. You know that it starts in the next 15 minutes, I suggest getting ready. Choza smirked a bit as he watched the two become shocked from fear. He threw a uniform towards Naruto. Don't worry Naruto, I didn't forget your situation either. But I wasn't kidding on that, thankfully we live close enough nearby to make it not late, but I wouldn't risk it on your first day. Choza laughed heartily as the two fearful kids dashed towards the showers, with Choji having beaten Naruto, causing him to have to wait. He decided to grab breakfast first, to which Choza gave the full 9 yards of it. Naruto and Kurama both sweat dropped to the display and knew where the Akimichi gut came from, even with Naruto being over so often, it didn't stop the sight from being jaw-dropping. Naruto ate as he waited for Choji to come out, and even though eating only from one bowl of the meal, he still felt his gut grow slightly. The grimace met his face as he and Kurama both knew that he would have to do laps again to get rid of it. Choza rolled his eyes at his so-called nephew's actions, having realized a long while ago what the issue was. You know that there's a technique we have to help you with that. It's not something that you should abuse or else it could backfire on you, but once in a while shouldn't be too bad. Choza offered as Naruto sighed, waving him off a bit. It's fine, it helps motivate me to work out more, I just have to be careful of it. Naruto said calmly as Choza smiled. If you say so. Choza relented as Naruto went to move towards the shower again, seeing as he heard the door open and immediately went in afterwards. So, the gut swelled a bit from just a small amount of the food, geez how are they still alive from all of that food they eat? Kurama said, being both impressed and mortified by the Akimichi clan. From my understanding, I think it's how their bodies are designed, and since their clan techniques are based around those techniques, they have some way to turn the calories to strength or chakra. Other than that, I think they just like the taste of the food. Naruto thought a bit before saying. Kurama just stared at him. What? Naruto said, not appreciating the blank stare that Kurama gave him, one that spoke of pure disbelief and awe. When did you get so professory? Kurama said, still unbelieving of Naruto's explanation since it made sense, and that didn't fit the headstrong kid he had grown to know. Thankfully, or sadly, Naruto growled a bit and began yelling at Kurama mentally as to not cause a scene. Sadly, this all took a while, and soon Choza knocked on the bathroom door. You have 5 minutes or you'll be late. He told the two, who rushed through the rest of the shower, rushing through putting their clothes on as they rushed out the door. See ya Uncle Choza. Naruto yelled out as he rushed out the compound, rushing on over to the academy right nearby. He saw Choji ahead pretty far, who looked tempted to stop at a food place. He grabbed his friend by the collar and rushed towards the academy. We're gonna be late Choji. Naruto seemed absolutely nervous as he had just now rushed on the grounds with his friend, but while he released Choji, he noticed something outside his vision. Choji ran on ahead, looking back in confusion as Naruto waved him onward. Choji nodded, trusting his near brother, before running inside the academy. Heh. This all the Hyuga heir has Naruto heard kicking from 3 separate sources, and while Kurama tried convincing Naruto otherwise, Naruto kept pushing towards them. Sticking to the trees as told from Hanak, he watched the 3 bullies, one tall and lanky, one short and chubby, and one being what looked to be a 3-year-old, beat up a young girl. Naruto grit his teeth. Ha! You in the academy? You're not even worth the bottom of our shoe. The chubby one continued as Naruto headed, finally revealing himself with a punch to the tall one, sending him straight into a tree. He growled as the remaining 2 looked shocked from the act. What are you doing? He yelled in rage as the chubby one tried punching him. Naruto tried blocking it, only to get hit in the place the sun doesn't shine by the 3-year-old, leaving him open to a punch himself. He grit his teeth as the 3 looked towards him. Heh, and who's this one? I guess we got a new punching bag. The tall one said, ignoring the blood that fell from his mouth and the 2 teeth that were now missing, with look like one that was so loose it might as well have been knocked out of his mouth. Naruto used his foot to twist out and proceeded to kick them away into each other, causing the 3-year-old to be nearly crushed by the chubby bully. While they were distracted by that, the girl came and dragged Naruto up and away. Naruto panted a bit, struggling to hold on, but his pain tolerance was still that of a kid, and the nut punch in combination of the gut punch knocked the wind out of him for a bit. He had a feeling Kurama wasn't healing these wounds, but didn't know why. Kurama smirked, knowing more about Naruto's feeling about the girl than Naruto himself. He looked towards the young wide-eyed girl. Hey, are you okay? He asked, even as she carried him inside the building. Why yes, I'm okay. The girl stuttered miserably, having a blush cover her face as Naruto looked shocked. Oh okay, what's your name? Naruto asked, stuttering a bit from the blush. Was she having a fever? Kurama deadpanned at Naruto's thoughts. He couldn't have Okami, he actually was that dumb. Kami helped him when the girl became older and actually confirmed what Kurama could see growing based on her eyes and Naruto's subconscious thoughts of she looks nice. Hinata. Hinata said, the stutters calming down a bit as she smiled towards Naruto. What's yours? She asked as Naruto grinned despite the pain and got out of the hole to put his thumb to his chest. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. My dream is to become the Hokage and have everyone become friends with everyone. He grinned towards Hinata, whose blush came back and deepened in intensity. Hey, are you sure you don't have a fever? Naruto asked in deep concern as Kurama growled at him. Idiot. Kurama said simply, not providing an explanation as Naruto looked in confusion. Hinata didn't help things any as she passed out from Naruto grabbing her hands out of concern. Naruto grabbed her and put her on his back piggyback style, mostly due to Kurama yelling that if he didn't, that he would force him to eat 5 bowls of Choza's cooking and work it off in an hour. To the classroom. The two Chunin stared at him as he walked to the classroom door, at least, he thought it was. He didn't get to ask Choji which class they were in and they forgot to tell him the previous night. Naruto stared back at them. Hey, is this the way to the Genin class? Naruto asked as they nodded. Great, sorry for being late. Naruto grinned as he moved to go in, the two blocking him. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I'm a part of the pre-academy Genin class, so move out of my way. Naruto glared at the two, who rolled their eyes and proceeded to turn the kid to the door directly across. Oh. He finally said, embarrassed as he apologized to the guards, who paid it no mind. He opened the door only to find a supply closet and the door behind him suddenly closed. Hey, let me out, Dadabeo. He yelled as he banged against the door, figuring that the two guards had moved to block his exit. He heard the light groaning as he turned back to see Hinata slowly waking up. Good going there, Naruto. Now what are you going to do? Kurama snapped a bit, drawling out his liquid sarcasm at the kid who was mentally berating himself along with the demon fox. He turned his attention to Hinata instead. Hinata. Are you alright? Some teams, remember, Naruto used team for Sasuke, which literally just means Sasuke bastard. Since the character himself uses it, I can as long as it fits the character locked us in here. Naruto explained as Hinata's blush hit full force. Trapped in a room alone with Naruto-kun, Hinata thought as the blush became too strong again and she passed out again. Hinata. Naruto yelled in a mixture of confusion, frustration, and terror. Kurama just burst out laughing. What's so funny? Naruto demanded of his partner, not caring that anyone heard him. Kurama looked to remove a tear as he slowly ended the laughter. Okami Naruto, you are a riot with how dumb you are. Kurama chuckled a bit as Naruto growled, what do you mean by that? Naruto countered as Kurama shrugged. Let's just say Hinata has a crush on someone and let you figure out the rest. Kurama said as Naruto basically had question marks spawn all around him with how confused he was. Frustrated at not finding the answer to Kurama's riddle, he thinks it's a riddle. Kurama couldn't help as the laughter went back in full force again, annoying Naruto as he ignored his fox demon friend. He turned his attention towards the door. He banged it again and again, hoping to use strength to overcome it as he prepared for a shove, only for the door to suddenly open, causing him to fall down in front of Iruka and most of the class, who immediately saw Hinata passed out and Naruto on the ground having fell from a would-be shove. Snickers started spreading throughout the students, but Iruka was livid. Naruto, what did you do? Iruka seemed to leak killing intent, not enough to faze Kurama any, it's like a little kitty acting like a lion. It's kinda adorable if downright stupid. Kurama shrugged. But made most of the class flinch and walk away, with the sole exception being Sasuke, who instead became intrigued by the killing intent before seeing Naruto. Sasuke deadpanned as he watched Naruto look towards Iruka and talk about how Hinata fainted and the like, as well as having been locked in the room trying to get to class. Who is this dope even trying to fool? Dope. Suits the idiot for doing this. Not one day in and he's already trying to get to first base. Sasuke TSK''D at that invading thought as he tried not to turn around. I'm not jealous, he denied, ignoring the feeling that someone was smirking at him. Kurama wouldn't tell Naruto why he was smirking viciously at Sasuke as he desperately tried to convince Iruka on what happened. It didn't help matters that when he turned around, there was about 12 of the 30-ish people in the class who instantly tried, badly, to pretend they weren't just admiring Sasuke just now. He sighed, slightly annoyed as he noticed someone in the group that he wished was different from the rest. Seems he was wrong that night. While Sasuke was going through his internal crisis, Naruto had sighed to Iruka, who merely smirked. "You are a bundle of trouble, huh Naruto?" Iruka said with a grin, the class annoyed as Naruto got off. "But I don't want you too late again, and that goes to you too Choji." Iruka yelled towards the now flinching Choji. Who nodded with a deep bow. "Good job saving her Naruto." Iruka whispered to him, who grinned. "No problem Iruka-sensei." Naruto said as the two nodded. "So, what happened with class?" Naruto suddenly asked afterwards, causing Iruka to sheepishly chuckle. "We kinda just released for lunch and noticed the loud banging of that door. It looked like it was reinforced forcibly with chakra, but you were doing some heavy damage to it either way," Iruka said, having noticed the door nearly crashed to the ground. Had it not been for the weirdly activated seals around it, it was why Iruka had believed Naruto. Since the door never locked without those seals being active, and Naruto wasn't the type of kid to know seals or use them like that. He had to talk to the Hokage about that later, but right now his gaze fell towards Hinata, who Naruto picked up, piggyback style once again, ready to take her wherever Iruka needed her to go to help her. He instead put his hand over her face with a smirk. "She's fine Naruto, just passed out," Iruka said with a smirk. "Naruto Okami, please say he isn't," Iruka said, smirk falling into a shocked sweat-faced smile as Naruto looked at him in confusion. "She keeps fainting though, with these heavy blushes on her face. Does she have a fever?" Naruto asked, completely clueless, much to the class's dismay. "Naruto you idiot." The entire class, along with Iruka and Kurama thought as one. How did he not notice that he was the one causing her to faint? If his story checked out, he saved her from a group of bullies, had suffered injuries, only to ignore them to ask about her health, carried her on his back towards the class, then got tricked into a small supply closet. Alone, locked up, just them. Iruka had only one thought on his mind as he sweat dropped, much to Naruto's confusion. Hiashi is going to kill him. Hiashi, along with most of the clan heads, were not afraid or wary of Naruto, they treated him like other kids his age. Yet if Hiashi heard about what happened to the two, with them getting locked in a supply closet, together, and alone, for well over 4 hours, oh boy Naruto was going to die from that. Hiashi was just like Ino's father in that sense, with both being very protective of their children, much more in the case of Ino's father, well Hiashi let his children mostly free and watched over them, but Iruka was afraid, terrified even at this. Kurama was also confused at this point, noticing fear suddenly spike in the chakra flow of Iruka. Why, and more importantly, what was Iruka so afraid of? "It's fine Naruto, if you ever get a call from Hiashi, avoid him as long as you can if possible unless I'm there." Iruka tried to tell Naruto, who had ignored every word after his own name. Instead, Naruto was trying to wake Hinata up and failing. "Hinata." Naruto tried calling out once more before sighing, proceeding to lightly flick her head. The students, especially Iruka himself, paled as Hinata woke up, blush on her face again. "Sorry about that, I was trying to wake you up. We got out of the room thanks to Iruka-sensei. I'll help you with catching up with the content since it was my fault we got locked up in there." Naruto apologized, determined to make it up to Hinata. No. Nah Naruto, why you don't have to do that for me?" Hinata stuttered, blush firmly in place as she tried to change Naruto's mind. Naruto simply shook his head. "I'm going to be the future Hokage. That means owning up to my actions and taking responsibility. I had us miss class because of my own actions, so to make it up to you, I'll assist you in what we missed," Naruto declared, very loudly, to Hinata. It seemed like the rest of the people in the hall didn't even exist to him at the moment. Hinata blushed heavily, desperately trying to not pass out again, to which she finally succeeded. She instead simply hugged Naruto in thanks. Naruto smiled and hugged her back. Lucky was the simple thought that consumed most of the class, all angry at how easily Naruto had gotten the Hyuga heiress in his grasp. And he didn't even realize it. Naruto only looked in confusion as Iruka groaned. "Well, since you missed the beginning of class, you'll be eating lunch while we go through the lesson. Come on you two. Everyone else, enjoy your lunch," Iruka said as the classmates started walking away with differing looks of confusion, envy, intrigue and pity towards the group of now 3. Iruka led them to the actual classroom, which just so happened to be the door that those two guards were blocking, much to Naruto's annoyance. Hinata and Naruto decided to sit next to each other in the first row, seeing as no one else was there at the moment. The room seemed simple, with 3 rows of seats separated by a walkway down the middle, with the teacher's podium and chalkboard on the other side of the room. The windows showed the kids outside enjoying their meal and playing with each other, while Naruto and Hinata sat down next to each other. Hinata, while blushing, decided to open her eyes. The blush immediately turned into confusion as she noticed the dual nature of Naruto. "And Naruto, why do you have 2 chakra sources?" Hinata asked, noting that his eyes turned crimson with a blue backdrop. He seemed to grin a bit when he looked back towards her. That would be because I'm sealed in him. Sorry about his ignorance, Kit. Kurama said, forcing Naruto to stay back for a while, isolating him in the sealed room for a while. Naruto pouted a bit but didn't mind much. And then Naruto. Hinata seemed shocked as Kurama shook his head. Iruka groaned again. Kurama, why are you revealing yourself to her? He asked, exasperated by the demon fox. Kurama grinned in response. So his name was Kurama. Wasn't his name Naruto? Confusion was evident on her face as Kurama continued on. I mean, she likes Naruto, Kurama said simply, happy that Naruto didn't hear this as Hinata's blush went full blast at the truth, so eventually she would have to find out about me. That and she's trustworthy. She might be a weak kid right now, but with time and useful training, she'll be pretty strong. I approve. Kurama winked as Hinata passed out, having a bit of a nosebleed. Kurama snickered at this. That and it's hilarious to tease her. Come on, I have to deal with this idiot being completely ignorant to her crush and deal with it, I get to tease. Kurama said, to which Iruka relented, for he somewhat agreed with it. How the Iruka started with exasperation written on his face, only to see Kurama sigh. I wish I knew so I could beat it out of him. Kurama said simply, but there was a hint of a groan in his tone as the crimson faded back to being the backdrop to that sky blue eyes Naruto was known for. What? Naruto asked, looking around in confusion. Hinata. He yelled as he noticed his friend passed out. Kurama, what did you do? He yelled towards his friend, who only snickered as Naruto flicked her forehead again to wake her up. Kurama didn't have the heart to tell him that he was infusing his chakra in the flick to wake her up and didn't need the flick. Kurama needed entertainment and was not afraid of teasing him. He no longer wanted to kill the brat, but tease him mercilessly. Fair game. Thankfully, while Kurama knew how to read Naruto's thoughts, Naruto didn't know how to read his, much to his pleasure. A small part of him was disappointed, while the other was thankful that it meant Naruto didn't have to see all the gruesome things that Kurama had done, or the violet-colored gate that locked some of his memories away. He didn't know how to feel about either part and once again grew silent, much to the annoyance of Naruto. Naruto. Hinata groggily got up, her standard stutter not even showing up from the lack of realization as Naruto grinned. From on top of her. Right next to her face. Iruka and Kurama groaned verbally as Hinata passed out once more, blush once again re-established. Maybe it would be better if you gave her some space, Naruto. Iruka suggested, to which Kurama begrudgingly, stupid human spoiling his fun. Agreed with. Naruto moved to the next row up, hoping that it would be better than directly next to her, which it was after she got back up via chakra-infused flick. Iruka had to agree with Kurama, he didn't have the heart to tell him about the fact that all he needed was to just tap her with his finger to have the same effect. Once more, for what was soon starting to get annoying rather than endearing, Hinata woke up. She looked around before Iruka stopped her. Hinata, are you okay? Passing out that many times in a row cannot be good for the brain, so I have to ask. Iruka said, as Naruto panicked and nearly spoke up if not for Kurama growling at him to wait. Hinata shyly blushed and looked down, twiddling her fingers from embarrassment. As long as you're okay, I don't mind. Let's begin, you two. Iruka said with a smile before starting with the introduction to chakra, explaining stuff that Naruto somewhat innately knew. While Naruto was bored and struggling to stay up, Kurama was snoring, and Hinata was paying close attention to the basic explanation. Hey Kurama, you there? Naruto's eyes were drooping as he asked, Kurama seemed to ask, but most likely it was a sleepy nod towards Naruto. Naruto sighed, I assume you're bored too. Naruto deadpanned, but couldn't really blame the fox seeing as he could barely stay awake. Yeah, honestly, this is all stuff that I already know, and I believe you do as well, but I would still pay attention, just in case he says something you don't know. Kurama shrugged, yawning a bit as he explained to Naruto, who seemed unconvinced. Why should I do that? Naruto asked, more like whined, to Kurama, who rolled his eyes tiredly. Say he's teaching chakra control, he could explain the tree walking exercise you already know, and mention a tip that makes it easier to work with your chakra, stuff like that. Heck, he might mention something or somewhere you can go to research yourself. I want you to become strong, any less is an insult with your training and by extension, an insult to me. Kurama really couldn't care for tact at the moment with his explanation as he yawned again before facing Naruto. Naruto seemed to think a bit before disappearing from the room in his mind. Kurama rolled his eyes, hoping his tactless explanation reached his kid's head. Kurama shrugged once more before going to sleep, not really caring if he was right or wrong. Kurama sadly wasn't right, unless Iruka had said something important during the time Naruto was talking to him, since all Iruka did was go for a basic understanding of something Naruto already knew, much to his disappointment. Naruto sighed a bit as he walked towards Iruka. Yes, Naruto? Iruka asked as Naruto thought a bit, much to Iruka's shock, before responding. Well, my chakra control, to quote Kurama, is terrible. I know how to do the tree walking and leaf concentration exercises, but with the tree walking exercise, I can't complete it unless I was competing with Sasuke team. Haruka glared a bit at that, before bopping Naruto and telling him no cursing. Part of him wondered where he even heard the term. Either way, I only know a bit of what he was telling me. I have a lot of chakra, but because of the whole sealed fiasco, it takes a lot more to convert it to chakra instead of physical representation. Naruto said, looking back to his paper as Haruka mentally sighed in relief, knowing that Naruto had written this out with the help of Kurama and didn't just suddenly become a genius on him. Do you have any way for me to improve that? Naruto asked as Haruka smiled. Well, you could always head to the academy library. There's a good amount of scrolls that could help you along that path. And I'm sure Kurama can help you pick out scrolls that would be helpful to you. Haruka asked, feeling that Kurama had snorted at him, which was confirmed when Naruto rolled his eyes at his partner. Wait for tomorrow, I was going to take the whole class down there in order to help them set up some basic jutsu techniques between them. From what I hear, you're good at the henge, much more than most kids your age. Haruka said, seeing as Naruto grinned under the praise. Haruka proceeded to give a stern look in response before continuing, however, you don't have any other jutsu techniques on you. Naruto deflated back down and nodded. They told me that the academy would teach the jutsu, I just had to practice the chakra control. Physically, I'm well off. Haruka shot an eyebrow towards the gut, noting the glare Naruto gave him. I live with the Akimichis. Just one bowl does this. Naruto said, still keeping the glare on Haruka, who apologized with a sheepish laugh. The glare went away as Naruto groaned, then all of this stuff happened and I want to get stronger. To protect them. As the future Hokage, I want everyone to be friends with everyone and I know that in order to do that, you have to be strong. And I was too weak to protect him, Naruto said, not noticing the tears that were starting to take hold until his voice broke off. Haruka sighed, grief bleeding through that loving gaze he gave Naruto as he knelt down to the aforementioned boy. I know Naruto, but you're not weak. Haruka said as Naruto glared at him in disbelief. You aren't. The glare seemed to increase in intensity as he continued on, your heart Naruto, your heart. Haruka sighed from the confusion and decided to take a more direct approach with him. If you were weak, you wouldn't be here, you wouldn't be asking me how to improve. Probably, you would have been asleep and not paying the least bit of attention, and I know it, but you're here. And because of that, I think that you're strong. Weak people give up, walk away, and wallow in self-pity and defeat. You are strong, and I know it, Naruto. Just because you couldn't protect those you love now, doesn't mean you can't gain the strength to in the future to protect those you meet later on. It doesn't make you weak, it just means you're young. You're 7 years old and it's up to us to protect you right now, to raise you so that when you grow up, you can carry the torch and help the future generations along. Now do you understand? Haruka said, noting that the tears were drying up only to be replaced by a wobbly grin. Thanks, Haruka-sensei. Naruto said, much to Haruka's joy. Now, when does lunch end? Naruto asked as Haruka rolled his eyes from exasperation. Oh, I almost forgot, there is no lunch period. Everyone is let out at lunchtime. Haruka grinned mischievously at the yelling Naruto gave him, but noticed the shy shocked smile of Hinata. Seems she was also listening in and Haruka firmly denied that he didn't forget about her, no matter what anyone said. How about you walk Hinata home? Haruka suggested, smirking at the blush that met Hinata's face. I couldn't ask Naruto for TT that. Hinata stuttered out as Naruto, though confused, nodded with a grin. Okay, Haruka-sensei. I gotta make sure those bullies don't try attacking her again. Come on Hinata, let's go. Naruto said, seemingly unfazed by the blush from Hinata. She was so embarrassed that she fell down the steps in the middle, leading Naruto to catch her with a smile. You okay Hinata? He asked as he lifted Hinata up, only to see, much to Kurama and Haruka's exasperation, that she was passed out. Naruto was starting to get used to this by now and only made to put her on his back, smiling towards Haruka. You know where she lives? Haruka caught him before he left, noting the flinch and awkward silence. Naruto sheepishly laughed as Haruka rolled his eyes and shook his head. Come on, I'll lead you towards her home. He said, figuring if Hiashi was going to kill him, to have him do it earlier rather than later. That and he wanted to watch, he noted with a smirk. Chapter 4. Pre-Academy 2 The Shadow Step Style. Hinata yawned, blinking her eyes as blonde hair came into view, as well as a grin. Hey Hinata. You're finally awake. A blush made it to her face as she dug into the blonde hair, heart racing from the touch. Haruka had told me to wait on him, he's taking so long. Naruto whined, bored from waiting as he looked like he was getting yelled at. Hey Urama he dragged out the name as if it bore the weight of his boredom itself. Hinata giggled a bit at it as Naruto pouted a bit from it. Groaning her name as he had done with Kurama's, he sighed before changing the topic. So Hinata, why were you so afraid of heading home? Naruto asked lightly. Hinata flinched back a bit. Well I didn't want to see you get hurt Naruto. Hinata stuttered as she explained, tapping two of her fingers against each other and diverting from Naruto's eyesight. And my father can be overprotective of me, to the point that I don't have any FR friends in the village. She continued with a sense of sadness in her tone. Naruto flicked her on the forehead with a grin. You got me. And no matter who your father is, he can't change that. Naruto put a thumb to his chest proudly, believe it. He shouted loudly. Hinata burst out into giggles once more with a smile on her face from Naruto's confidence. Hinata looked behind and saw Iruka walking up behind him silently, putting a finger on his mouth when he noticed Hinata looking at him as he sneaked up on Naruto. He got two pieces of chalk erasers out and loudly clapped them next to Naruto's ear. What? Naruto screamed indignantly in surprise as he started looking around for the noise, only to hear it again from his other ear. Hinata was struggling to be respectful and not laugh too loudly at the blonde boy in front of her. It wasn't going too well as Naruto started doing hand signs that seemed to terrify Iruka. Giggling, Hinata walked up to the both of them with a smile on her face. Let's get going. Father doesn't like waiting that long. Hinata said shyly, twiddling her fingers as the two agreed, though Naruto still looked at Iruka with a mischievous grin that promised a future prank on his sensei. Iruka's eye twitched in response. And followed slightly behind her as Hinata opened the door to the Hyuga compound. The surrounding area was dim in terms of light, with a sole garden near the middle of the compound that was surrounded by multiple houses. A large tree grew from the middle, and a large three-story house towered over the two and one-story houses that lived nearby. Hinata walked towards that house, passing the tree with a humble bow. Iruka also gave a bow and Naruto shrugged and tried to walk on past the tree, only for Kurama to turn him around and have him bow so he didn't get yelled at while he slept. Naruto rolled his eyes out of ignorance, but Kurama was too tired to explain to him. Hinata walked and opened the door to the compound, only to find a slightly older-looking boy glaring at her. Oh, so that's where you were. Who knew it would take you 100 years to get home, Hinata? What, get lost on the way home out of shame? The boy asked sarcastically, Hinata looking painfully shy under the older boy's glare. Well, Hinata stuttered as the boy ignored her in favor of the two behind her. She gulped at the notice that she wasn't even worth the time of day to him. And who are these two? The boy instead asked, not at all remorseful for his actions. Naruto gritted his teeth as Kurama opened an eye. Sighing, Kurama resigned himself for a lack of sleep as he watched Naruto's anger rose in waves against the calm rage that the boy portrayed. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I'm gonna become the next Hokage, believe it. Naruto stuck his thumb to his chest, but his normal grin was instead replaced with a look of determined anger. The boy didn't really look impressed and only scoffed. My name is Iruka Yamino, thank you to the one that told me this. I honestly hadn't known and I am Hinata's pre-academy sensei. I came alongside Naruto here because I wanted to talk to your father and clear something up before the public rumors muddied up all the facts of the matter. Please excuse us. Iruka cut in before the boy and Naruto could continue on with their spat while Hinata silently thanked him with a sigh of relief. The boy rolled his eyes. Fine, but only because my loving sister is inviting you, I got a mission to go on, get out of my way. The boy glared at Hinata before walking through Naruto, shoving him out of the way. Hey, what was that for? Naruto yelled back in anger, only to get ignored once more. Naruto, gritting his teeth, readied for running after him and giving him a piece of his mind. Hinata grabbed his hand in a look of begging, shaking her head to ask him not to do it. Reluctantly, as well as still mentally cursing the boy, he finally turned back with the HMPH as Iruka sighed in relief, mentally adding that boy to the list of stuff to talk to Hiashi-san about. Be sure to buy the red tomatoes, Niji. An older-looking Hyuga, this one without the Byakuran and looking somewhat poor, called towards Niji, who visibly flinched and ignored her. She sighed before bowing to Hinata, looking as if she was terrified of her presence near Hinata. Are you alright? Naruto asked out of understanding, having seen that face in the mirror when he was younger and struggling to get by. He shook the bad memories back as the lady smiled with a nod before walking away. Naruto looked a bit worried and decided to head back later with some food he could find to give them. The group walked inside the rather bland-looking house, doing their best to drive the memory of meeting the boy, or Niji as the lady had called him, out of their mind for the moment. Tatami mats laid here and there, but very little else was visible. They took their shoes off as the group walked to the main door. The older-looking man laid in Caesar in front of them, but began with giving Hinata a firm stare. Kurama couldn't find any malice within the stare until it gazed and landed upon Naruto and Iruka. Kurama smirked mentally at this, much to the confusion of Naruto. So you're finally back, Hinata, what caused you to be so late? He asked with nary a tone, as if his emotions did not exist to begin with. Hinata gulped a bit, but before she could start stuttering, Iruka smiled and walked in front. That's actually what I wished to talk to you, Hiashi-san, if that's alright with you. Iruka calmly asked, head bowing a bit low out of respect as Hiashi turned his head towards Naruto. He raised an eyebrow in an obvious question, but it was quickly gone as soon as it appeared. Naruto is here because he was part of the whole reason why we're here, and I figured you would want a first-hand explanation over what happened, since he was the one that had saved your daughter. Haruka said, mentally smirking as he laid the hook. He knew that if he wanted to get this situated without Naruto getting blacklisted by the Hyuga clan, he had to act fast and intelligently. Hiashi looked back towards Haruka, still keeping that passive face on his face. Okay, I'll allow him to stay for the time being, but only until he explains his part of the story. Hiashi said calmly, much to the bitter annoyance of Naruto. Kurama didn't really disagree with his emotions, knowing about the passive facade the Hyuga clan were known for. Thank you Hiashi-san, I'll make this quick as to not waste your precious time. Earlier today, Naruto here had saved Hinata from a group of 3 bullies that were beating her up. Afterwards, when trying to enter the class, he was tricked into getting locked in a supply closet with Hinata. Sadly, Hinata was passed out from all of that due to her. Haruka paused here, motioning towards Hinata to pick up. They all know I was passed out because they were all kicking my stomach. I was able to hold on until Naruto showed up, but he provided me with time to rest my wounds and focus on my chakra. Hinata lied with a blush on her face, not at all wanting to tell the truth so close to Naruto. Even though Haruka sat in the middle between the two, she could still see Naruto giving her a reassuring grin her way. Then I must thank you Naruto-san, thank you for keeping her safe, but how did you get yourself locked in a small supply closet with my daughter? Hiashi asked, his tone becoming colder with each word he said. It was a minute change of tone, but enough to where Kurama kept Naruto from speaking immediately. Kurama? What is it? He said thank you and everything. Naruto whined mentally, somehow keeping a blank look on his face in the process. I don't think he is as thankful as he sounds. Choose your words carefully or you might not live to regret it. Kurama told him, much to Naruto's nervousness. Gulping back a breath he didn't know he held, Naruto, with Kurama's help, began speaking aloud to Hiashi. Thank you for your kindness Hiashi-san, as Iruka-sensei has already told you, I was tricked into the closet. There were 2 chunin. I don't know but they had those vests like Iruka-sensei does, blocking the doorway. I asked them where the class was since it was the first day and we were late, so I really didn't know where to go. They pointed me to the closet, so I went there, but then they locked me in. I was carrying Hinata who was recovering, and I tried breaking the door down. Sadly, I couldn't get us out before Iruka-sensei came and found us with the rest of the class, so we stayed for lunch in order to catch up, only to find that it was after class ended, can you believe that? So that's why Hinata was late, don't blame her or anything, since it wasn't her fault. If you want someone to blame, blame those idiots that locked us in the closet. Naruto said as Kurama's hold on his speech grew less and less with each word he rambled. Remarkably, Hiashi nodded along and seemed as if he was listening intently on the story that Naruto provided. Naruto grinned at the end, happy to see someone paying attention and not ignoring him out of content, and Hiashi smiled lightly back at the young lad sitting in a sloppy seiza in front of him. He turned to Hinata, smile still on his face. Haruka had a stern look towards Naruto as he noticed him almost cursing during the explanation, but said nothing. Is what he speaks true Hinata? Hiashi asked lightly, but the smile twitched when Hinata flinched back out of fear. Naruto wanted to reach towards her, but Haruka sat between them and shook his head, much to Naruto's chagrin at the motion. Hinata looked towards Naruto and her eyes of fear steeled into ones of protectiveness. She looked back at Hiashi. Yes father, he came to rescue me from the bullies before I had passed out from my wounds. I am sorry for failing you in that manner. Hinata bowed her head deeply into her own lap, failing to see the look of pride flash across Hiashi's face at his daughter before it faded into his standard poker face. You did not fail me Hinata, we shall train you more and I hope you use this experience as an inspiration to get stronger to protect what you call dear. Naruto-san, allow me to express my gratitude to you and an apology for thinking you made yourself out as a fool. Hiashi said respectfully, much to Naruto's glee. Haruka looked at him, as well as Kurama, before Naruto grinned and stood up suddenly. Don't worry about it poker face-san. I'll continue to help out Hinata-chan as she is my best friend and I never abandon my friends. Naruto said seriously, thumb over his chest once again. Kurama burst out laughing at the twitch that came upon Hiashi's face at his new nickname. The poker face-san. Haruka looked close to fainting as he stuttered out the name. Naruto's grin grew. Hinata was just plain passed out from a mix of laughter and embarrassment of her friend. Hiashi however, chuckled along. Haruka passed out at that point as Hiashi stood up. Then I'll trust you Naruto-san, but no one works alone. Follow me if you will. I'll have my guards take Haruka-san and Hinata-chan to their rooms, so don't worry about them. Hiashi explained, noticing Naruto's worried glance to his friends. A smile made its way upon his face as he led Naruto out of the room. Kurama watched as Naruto was led by Hiashi towards a rectangular-like room, most likely a training room if the Taijutsu class was anything to go by. The tall one, the teacher if Kurama's guess held true, bowed as soon as he saw Hiashi, but that shocked expression turned into badly concealed rage when his eyes shifted to Naruto. Hiashi most likely held a firm gaze based on the fact that the teacher scoffed bitterly before looking away, desperately trying to pretend that Naruto and his very existence didn't exist. Naruto had a pang of hurt rush through his mind before putting on his gleeful-looking mask of happiness, he calls a grin. "So Pokerface-san, why are we here?" Naruto asked out of curiosity, enjoying the expression of pure shock rushing over the teacher. Hiashi noticed the glint in Naruto's eyes and held one of his own, surprising Naruto and Kurama. He has a glint too. He knows. Naruto thought happily, pointedly ignoring Kurama's own groans of "Oh dear Kami, there's two of them" in favor of watching the teacher stutter unintelligibly. "Well, we're here to train you. I had heard you were trained by Hanak and I was curious on what he taught you." Hiashi admitted, only to have his eye twitch a bit from the overpowering glint of glee that leaped like stars from Naruto's eyes. "You knew Hanak-sensei?" Naruto practically leaped for joy from it as Hiashi, after a moment of trying to get over his shock, nodded. The rest of the clan members in the training hall seemed to just stop and stare at the pair like they were aliens or something, much to Kurama's amusement. "Why yes, we were partners for many missions together as I taught him when he was preparing for his Chunin exams. He's somewhat of a legend here actually for his actions during the 9." Hiashi stopped talking from the crimson glare that flashed towards him. Coughing, he changed the topic. "I'm so sorry about what happened to him. I promise you that I will do all I can to catch his murderer, just like how you will do everything to protect my daughter, correct?" Hiashi asked as the crimson faded back into that sky blue he knew. Naruto grinned with a firm nod. "You can count on me, Pokerface-san." Naruto had his thumb to his chest in his signature pose. The other students and teachers openly gaped at the sight as Naruto laughed at the sight. Since he had his eyes closed, he missed the smile that Hiashi gave him. "Of course, let's begin," Hiashi said before rushing at Naruto. Naruto didn't even know what had happened, but the pattern repeated again and again as Kurama led him to safety. After a while, Kurama scoffed and told him to follow his instincts before he started relying too much on Kurama to help out. Naruto gritted his teeth out of frustration, but couldn't deny the fact that Kurama wasn't wrong at that. Apparently what Hiashi meant by "let's begin" was "let's begin beating you up to the ground." "Left," Hiashi said simply as Naruto had started to jump to the left. "Back and right," he said again as he kept telling Naruto's movements. Hiashi began attacking once more as Naruto got blown back, still conscious this time. "You managed to not pass out, congrats. Usually take someone about 27 times to do that, you only took 15. Though they actually landed hits on me before passing out, so don't hold your head up too high from that. Well, Iruka's waiting on you, so come back tomorrow and I'll explain how you can improve your reaction times and start teaching you counterattacks." Hiashi said simply with a smirk as Naruto barely even registered the words before passing out once again. Iruka scoffed as he walked over. "Guess you were still mad, Hanak-san." Iruka glared without any real weight behind it, more bemused than wrathful. Hiashi shrugged at the accusation. "Who knows? Maybe this will teach him not to get himself locked in supply closets with my daughter or cause her to pass out blushing. I had to test that who my daughter has a crush on. Speaking of my daughter, where is Hinata?" Hiashi said, a light smirk still visible on his face. Iruka scoffed once more as he picked Naruto onto his back. "She's waiting for us out front, told her to wait on Naruto and me since I figured something like this was going to happen." Iruka explained before smirking himself, "Didn't want to carry two." Iruka said simply, much to the chuckled laughter from Hiashi. I see, still will never understand why you never try to learn the shadow clone jutsu technique to help with that." Hiashi pointed towards Naruto. "Imagine if he learned it before you, it would make you look like you're lagging behind your cowhace." Hiashi laughed as Iruka rolled his eyes. "You're one to talk, you don't even learn your clan's main technique. Oh wait, your clan is cut in half, I forgot." Iruka winked before the two broke out into laughter. "Tomorrow at 7. Hiashi said tensely with a hand on Iruka's shoulder. "Both you and him get training for that one." Hiashi continued before Iruka nodded with a nervous laugh before walking away. The day was almost done at that point with the sun turning orange in that high-up sky as Naruto finally woke up groggily. Even Kurama was tired after having to heal all his wounds and neither could stop the indignant scream that came out when Kakashi suddenly popped up in front of Naruto's tired eyes. "Yo." Kakashi said simply with his only visible eye closed. Naruto's eyes twitched in response, which Kakashi promptly ignored. "It's time to get started on our information hunting, as well as your advanced stealth training," Kakashi said with a tone suggesting happiness. Naruto tried to say as Kakashi put his hand on Naruto's shoulder. "Great, let's get started." Kakashi hastily stopped Naruto's dismissal before the two seemed to vanish to the naked eye. In reality, Kakashi carried Naruto while sunshining and soon they were in a tree near the academy, which happened to be the same one Iruka and Hanak were in on Naruto's birthday party. Kakashi was glad his mask hid his smirk as he watched the boy puke onto the building from it. He knew from the purple eyes that glared at him that they weren't happy about it, but he couldn't resist messing with the young kid in front of him. After the puking and glaring faded, Naruto's eyes turned into starry blue ones. "Kakashi-sensei, what was that?" He squawked at Kakashi, who cleaned his ears with a finger in response. "You are nowhere near the skill needed to know, now never mind that, look over there and tell me what you see," Kakashi said, pointing towards the academy. Naruto was about to ask him what he meant when he spotted a man that looked really nervous, constantly looking around and back to the academy building. He carried a box that was about 5 inches cubed, but they couldn't tell what was inside of it at the moment with how protective he looked about it. "Who is that guy?" Naruto asked Kakashi, who simply closed his eye again. "That's what I want you to find out. You got your target, go find out about him via any means necessary," Kakashi said simply, subtly making a sign behind his back towards the two Anbu watching over him to keep him safe, to which Naruto groaned. "Great, so you're pushing me away from the case." Naruto pouted but still kept watch over the man. "No, I really do believe that man has something to do with whatever is happening here, but I'm going after more dangerous prey. Prey that could kill a little kid like yourself, even with Kurama's help. I don't think Kurama can heal you if your limbs get ripped apart and your head chopped off, so I want to keep you safe. Just watch over the man, see what he does, and I'll be able to gather the evidence from your mind later on with a new jutsu I'll teach you after this," Kakashi said, much to the awe of Naruto, who was hooked with the words new jutsu. Kurama and Kakashi shared a smirk at Naruto's attitude as Kakashi pointed back to the man, who was walking away. "Hey look, he's getting away," Kakashi said tonelessly, causing Naruto to turn. In that moment, Kakashi shunted away towards the roof of the academy outside of Naruto's eyesight, and while he saw Naruto balk and run after the man from the rooftops, Kakashi looked towards the roof. 2 shadows dropped down a few meters away from him. "Let's get started," Kakashi said simply as the two nodded before they slipped into the academy and searched for clues. Naruto and Kurama struggled to keep silent as they watched him, with Kurama having to help out with keeping him focused on his surroundings, while Naruto watched the man and kept him in his sights. The man bobbed and weaved around the silent streets of Konoha, looking as if someone was after him, ironic given Naruto's given job, but he wasn't laughing. The man eventually slipped into a darkened side street that even Naruto couldn't tell where it went. After a second of hesitation, he kept watch over on the rooftop above as the man stopped, looking left and right as he left the box that he had been carrying the whole way before running away, his job seemingly done. Naruto frowned as he let him go, more interested in what would happen to the box. "Good idea. The man was probably a lackey, I'll keep watch around us to make sure we don't get caught from behind, be careful Naruto," Kurama told him at his thought process, to which he got a light nod from Naruto and not a word back. Another man, this one calmer and collected, arrived robed in a uniform that Naruto didn't know of, as well as a mask that reminded him of the men that would chase him down when he was out on one of his many pranks. However, the masks those men wore proudly depicted the animal they represented, color and all. This mask was super vague with its markings, to the point where Naruto couldn't even tell what animal, if any, it was supposed to depict. The masked man, who could have been a boy depending on what it was but Naruto couldn't tell from his perch, grabbed the box and seemed to jump away, with Naruto immediately giving chase after him. Unlike the man from earlier, this masked assailant quickly caught on to the boy and did everything he could to lose him. If it wasn't for Kurama's notice, Naruto would have lost him on the first corner he took, but the chase continued on for longer than the two would admit. Many long minutes later, the two were finally at where the man wanted to be, as evidenced by the fact that Naruto did all that he could to give him space. After the masked person thought he was gone, he arrived nearby the academy, jumping in a passageway that Naruto never even knew existed. Giving about 10 seconds between the two, Naruto gulped and opened the passageway below towards what he had thought were the sewers. He climbed down and struggled to look around, seeing a faint light in the distance. He carefully sneaked towards it, seeing a group of masked men and a much older man with bandages wrapping up his body. He struggled to listen in, but could only make a few words out. "Something about Konoha, and we begin tonight." Confused and having found all he could, Naruto exited the passageway the way he came, but Kurama grimaced, unsure if anyone had noticed the two there. Naruto panted as he walked towards the Akimichi compound, exhausted from the long amount of close jumps and runs he had when stalking the man and masked person. Choza was waiting for him at the compound entrance as he picked up the young boy to bring him to bed. "Sorry," Naruto mumbled sleepily, trying to apologize for not being able to hear more of the conversation. "For what? You came home safe and sound, that's all matters Naruto." Choza smiled lightly as he said this. "Home," Naruto mumbled lightly before falling asleep. Choza walked into his room and tucked him into bed. "Yup, home." Choza said to the sleeping Naruto, "Rest tight little one." He lightly kissed Naruto's forehead before leaving the room, carefully closing the door as not to wake him. A yawn sounded from Naruto as he slowly got out of bed, unsure of how much time passed. Ugh, I feel like a brick hit me then smacked me around a bunch. Naruto mentally groaned as he heard Kurama snort. The sad part is, you're probably not that far off, that pale face did a huge number on you, and I'm still trying to get everything back into working shape after last night's adventure. Kurama explained, most likely mad at himself for letting it happen. You're right, I am. Kurama said, biting himself back from cursing for Naruto's sake, who snickered. Kurama simply growled before Naruto nervously backed off that train of thought. I wonder what's happening today. Kakashi-sensei never taught me that jutsu, so that should be happening later on. Oh no am I late? Naruto shouted from the realization, rushing to try and find his clock, only to find out he was indeed running late. He rushed towards the door to get ready before Choza peeked through the door. Don't worry Naruto, you're heading to the Hokage before class, you'll meet up with them at the library, okay? Choza explained to the panicking Naruto, who visibly relaxed before yelling at Kurama to stop laughing. Choza himself joined in, much to the young boy's chagrin over being double-teamed on, which only inspired Choza to laugh harder. After getting fully ready and eating a bit of Choza's cooking without the Akimichi-styled ingredients, which only furthered Naruto's running theory of the whole Akimichi gut, with how Choza complained about it not being as good as the Akimichi food, but that Naruto needed to eat more than a small bowl of food. Kurama was between impressed and terrified with how accurate Naruto's theory was starting to seem. Naruto finally went towards the school, heading through towards the Hokage's office. After a quick greetings exchange between him and the secretary, Naruto opened the door to the Hokage's office and walked on in with a smile on his face, which grew when seeing Kakashi, but soon started turning into a shocked and terrified expression as he saw the multitude of different high-ranking ninja gathered around. He was quickly turning round about to walk out, thinking he was interfering in an important meeting until Kakashi turned towards him. Ah, there's the guest of honor, Naruto. Over here. Kakashi called out towards him, Naruto mentally cried as he walked back over. So, I promised to show you a new jutsu yesterday, correct? Kakashi asked to a resounding nod from Naruto. Kakashi mirrored it before continuing on, right, so here's the signs for the jutsu of dog tiger snake dog frog, and with that, just use something, and you can use the informational exchange jutsu. Kakashi explained a tad awkwardly, stuttering a bit at the application of the jutsu, since it differs between users. For him, he used his dogs and they would bark out the jutsu, Anko's snakes would hiss it out, while Kurenai would just use rose petals to apply the jutsu. Naruto's was a tad different, to where he took a deep breath, as if mirroring the Uchiha's fireball jutsu, but then blew out a compressed pocket of air from his mouth. Kakashi and the others watched with curiosity written on their faces as the air bubble made its way slowly towards the sandaime before popping. The scene around them all changed into what had happened the night previous, to which they mostly remained impartial, until the moment Naruto let the man go in favor of watching the box, to which Kakashi congratulated him for his thinking, as well as Anko, making a sketch of the face to send to the other workers of T&I to go after, before the memory played on. Their faces shifted into looks of concern, especially Hiruzen and Kakashi, when the masked man came up. Naruto looked away out of embarrassment on the long game of cat and mouse the two played, and while he expected ridicule for him nearly losing track multiple times, he gained none of it. Instead a tense silence befell them as the memory continued down the sewer. Oh no, please say it's not so, Naruto heard Hiruzen say as he saw him go down the sewer. Finally it led to the conversation Naruto barely overheard and the man they saw. Oh dear Danzo, Hiruzen said with heavy regret in his tone. Naruto was massively confused by this and was about to ask before Kurama growled out of his mouth. Is Danzo the name of that guy we saw? I have a funny feeling you have some things to explain, old fart, so I suggest you get started on what happened last night and why there was a full group down there, yet they had to have a terrified man who was close to peeing his own pants deliver something for them instead of getting it themselves. It felt too easy of a target, as if they wanted us to find them, and I don't even know if we got spotted. Start explaining, you old fart. Kurama rudely cut the silence, but Naruto didn't do anything to apologize as they turned their heads towards Hiruzen. No one else except Kurama with his steady glare said a word. Hiruzen sighed in what looked to be resignation to the situation. Danzo is the head of the Citizen Council, which watch over my actions to make sure I don't become a dictator. Hiruzen began, perfectly ignoring Kurama's snort at the description. On top of that, he is a dear friend of mine who I told a while back to quit this foolish subdivision he had created. Kakashi here exposed his intentions to assassinate me years ago and helped me stop his plan. If it wasn't for the fear I have that he is what is stopping us from having a massive civil war on our hands, I would have killed him that day, but for the peace of you and your generation, I spared him. I won't let him get away with this, so Naruto. Let us handle that, it is way too dangerous for you to handle. Hiruzen explained, only to hear bitter laughter spawn from Naruto's mouth. Oh, cry me a river, best friend. The man tried to kill you, all for what? You to casually forgive him and have him still keep up his nefarious plans. Man, I thought the other one was an idiot, but you take the cake. What, any more secrets you have to share? Any more murderers and traitors you chose to spare? Kurama spat out in a rage. Hiruzen flinched slightly, which made Kurama burst out laughing that bitter laugh. I'll leave that to you, I'm not playing politics with you, on to other matters. Eyelid, did you get any leads from your end? Kurama turned his attention away from the Hokage, who looked reduced to a regretful old fart in Kurama's eyes, in favor for Kakashi. For his credit, Kakashi showed no outward signs of acknowledging the nickname. We have some form of a lead, but it seems to be a rabbit hole going deeper, nothing concrete that I can show you all yet sadly. Kakashi informed them, and soon after the meeting was adjourned. The other Jonin looked at Naruto, then Hiruzen, then back to Naruto before they left, while Kakashi decided to stay with a hand on Naruto's shoulder to stop him from leaving. Hiruzen coughed as Naruto turned back around. Are you alright you two, well, three? Hiruzen asked calmly, but the tone suggested something akin to deep regret that made Naruto flinch back in guilt slightly. The move didn't get past the others in the room. Yes, Hokage-sama. Kakashi said stiffly, still having not recovered over the bombshell from just moments prior. Kurama had said what many of them were just too scared to ask out of a mixture of respect and fear of breaking it. Kurama had no chains in that front and broken that image they built up of him. How many more had he spared? How long has he done it for? What else had he done? The questions raked inside Kakashi's mind as well as many of the other Jonins that were in the room, but a job was a job. Danzo, and whoever was the murderer of Hanak, whoever has been trying to sabotage the academy, the mysteries kept getting deeper and deeper, like a rabbit hole that spiraled to another land of wonder. I don't know Oji-sen, I don't know. Naruto mumbled out, still trying to understand what had happened. It made for a pitying experience for the three, seeing Naruto nearly on the brink of tears as he raised his head with a fake grin to hide those tears, but I'll keep going. There's no way I can be Hokage if I give up here. So what if you messed up in the past? Who cares? It's in the past. We just gotta clean the mess up and do right today. So let's keep going. Oji-san, you made mistakes in the past like everyone does, you're not a kami, you're not superior to us all. We're human, and that means cleaning after our mistakes with the help of friends and family, right? Naruto's false grin started turning truer and truer with each passing line as he watched the shock meet Hiruzen's eyes as well as Kakashi's eye. Tears started coming out of Hiruzen as he nodded, then let's do it. My ninja way is to always help those that require help and can't help themselves, so I'll help out in any way I can without running away. Naruto grinned with a cheeky snicker as he looked towards Hiruzen with closed, happy eyes. I believe you Naruto, maybe it is time that I pay for my past mistakes and clean after the messes I have made. I cannot do such a thing alone, but maybe with the help of you all, I can pay for those mistakes. Thank you for your kind words Naruto. Hiruzen said with sincerity. He mentally sighed as he heard the snort from Kurama. Naruto opened his left eye to reveal the crimson touch to his eye color. He might forgive you easily, but don't you dare think that I do. It'll take more than that to convince me, but no actions speak louder than mere words ever could. Kurama told him before the red glint faded away back to Naruto, who had a smile take his face. You can go now Naruto, I need to talk to Kakashi for a bit alone, I do believe you have a class to get going towards, don't you? Hiruzen smiled as Naruto panicked before quickly running off with hurried goodbyes to the two. As he left, a tense silence formed before Kakashi walked towards the desk and knelt before him. Rise. Hiruzen calmly said as Kakashi rose. You lied in front of Naruto, why? Hiruzen asked, having seen the subtle Anbu sign of lie that Kakashi had sent his way during the conversation with Naruto. Because what I found was something that he would try to dig through himself, and I didn't want to risk whoever was after him to find out we know. Kakashi stated simply, forming the signs for the jutsu to show him what happened. Right after splitting with Naruto, Kakashi and two other Anbu agents quickly sank through the window through a small crack in the window as they appeared below. Kakashi and the three dived in three different directions, one heading towards the many classrooms on the ground floor, another towards the upstairs classrooms, and Kakashi heading towards the facility records. After digging through the files, he searched for Naruto's file, only to find a picture of the Nine Tails, Kurama, stapled over Naruto's face. On top of that, the words, "Begin Operation Tailed Sabotage effective immediately." Hiruzen repeated in a faint mumble to himself, absorbing the information from the files that Kakashi had seen. A frown took his once neutral face as Kakashi removed his masks. I don't at all know what to expect with this, but Naruto absolutely cannot know about this. Someone at the academy is trying to sabotage his whole class, if not the whole school. Someone high up in the academy ranks at that. If Naruto found out about this, Kakashi gritted his teeth in a deep frown. Hiruzen nodded. Take Haruka with you after they're done with class, bring him here, and I'll assign your mission that I require from you both. Bring Anko here as well if you wish for her assistance on the mission, be back by nightfall, understood? Hiruzen said sternly as Kakashi nodded before sunshining away. Hiruzen sighed in annoyance this time before smoking from his pipe. So they are trying to sabotage through the academy, Hiruzen mumbled aloud as he turned off the seals that provided them with secrecy. Okazama, your paperwork has come in. His assistant dumped a huge stack of papers on the desk, much to the tears of Hiruzen. An idea sprouted in his mind as he formed the seals to the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Another two hymns appeared. Yes me? The clone on the left asked. We need to get these done in order to see to the other manners. Can I trust us to break these into stacks and finish them? Hiruzen asked seriously, to the nods of the other two. Breaking it into 3 different stacks, they got to work. Naruto barely managed to fall into line as the class headed towards the library, which happened to be right next door to the Hokage's office all along. Hey Naruto, glad to see you back with us. Iruka smiled as he pointed him out, causing the other students to look back to the nervously laughing Naruto. Now the academy library is one of the most important places for a ninja, for it allows you access to scrolls detailing how to use certain jutsus or taijutsu styles. Now, you have access to getting 3 different items today, one of which must be a taijutsu style. If you do not have one of your own, that are a way to use the style you have in a different way that would fit you if you have a clan style. If you need help, I'll be right over here and you can ask your classmates on their own opinion. Have fun. Iruka said before finding a table to sit at. The grand majority of the students broke up and explored the library, yet Hinata walked over to Naruto with a smile on her face. Choji was also heading towards the group, scaring the shy Hinata a bit as Naruto grinned and ran up to the two. Hey guys. Naruto said, throwing his hands around the two he considered family in his eyes. Hinata blushed something fierce as Choji grinned back to his surrogate brother. Any ideas about what you're gonna be going after? Naruto asked, to which both looked slightly guilty looking at him, much to his confusion. What's wrong guys? Naruto asked, to which Choji recovered first. Sadly we have clan jutsu, so we have to go to the other section away from you. The other section is just for those that have clan jutsu, and if we're gonna find what we need, we have to go there without you. Sorry about that Naruto, Choji explained, to which both looked downcast. Naruto simply pulled the 3 of them into a hug. It's fine guys, really. We'll meet up after this and help each other practice. I'll see you then. Naruto said with a caring grin on his face, to which the two returned it with smiles. He waved the two off before his smile started fading when they left his sight. A sigh later, Naruto turned back towards the section he was allowed to search through, noting the glare he received from the librarian, which he couldn't tell if it was because of him being loud or him being him. Another sigh was let out as he walked towards the taijutsu styles, seeing what could help him the most. And that's a good question, what style would fit you the most? You prank people a lot from what little I watched of your younger days and live off of being unpredictable. I think I know which of these styles could fit you, but I don't know if they even have it here. Head back to Iruka real quick, might as well make sure. Kurama told him as Naruto shrugged, making his way towards Iruka. Yeah Naruto? Iruka asked, curious about his inquiry. Iruka covered his mouth with a light warning, a part of my brain. Naruto asked, to which Iruka smiled and nodded. Yeah, a part of my brain was wanting to ask you if a certain style was in this section, saying it would be the most helpful for me. Naruto explained, to which Iruka motioned him to continue on. Something called the style of the flowing shadows. Naruto asked, to which a metaphorical light bulb lit up in Iruka's mind. I think I know the style you're referring about there, sadly the one you're thinking of is only for genin and higher ranks to get, however, the beginning style of it, the style of the shadow step, should be here for you to use. Well it's only the beginning style of it, it's made to build the foundation of the flowing shadows style up. You'll find it on row I subsection B if I recall correctly. Iruka said, to which Naruto nodded with a light bow and a grin before running towards that area. The library was somewhat small, as it was only the academy student section, so he had to try and avoid many of the other students that now populated its small area. Kurama was repeating the area so that he would not forget while Naruto kept his search up. Eventually, he made it to the area Iruka described, only to find a crowd of girls in his way. Excuse me? He said as he tried getting through to subsection B, only for the girl to ignore him. He went for lightly pushing her out of the way in order to get through to the area. She acted indignant and tried pushing him back, but he was already on his way through and saying excuse me to the next one just standing and blocking the path through. Eventually, and much to the ire of most of the females in his class, he got through to see 2 students that the girls were surrounding. Naruto ignored Sasuke and Sakura, instead trying to look for the shadow step style, but Sakura was the one that noticed him and the crowd looking ready to beat him up. Hey. What do you think you're doing? Sakura called out to him. Subsection B, where are you? This is C. Ah. There it is. Naruto mumbled aloud, completely ignoring Sakura's call as he held the scroll containing the style he was looking for with a grin. He started heading over towards the jutsu area but was walled off by the classmates. Hey. What's the big idea? Naruto shouted at the others, who only HMPH''D as if he deserved it. He turned back to Sakura and Sasuke. "What do you think you're doing?" Sakura repeated herself, stomping up towards him. "I was getting a taijutsu style for myself, as was the assignment assigned to us." Haruka said, "The style I was looking for was here, and lo and behold, it was with you all blocking the way towards it. I said excuse me and all that, but you simply ignored me." Naruto explained despite himself, only for Sasuke to walk up and put a hand on Sakura's shoulder, to which she looked heartsick before Sasuke pushed her back. Sasuke nodded to Naruto. "What style did you get?" Sasuke asked, looking actually curious on what the dope was so excited to be studying. Well, Sasuke had clan jutsu, he wasn't allowed to get the clan style until he was at least a genin, and many didn't even know if Konoha still had it in its records. Thus, he was here and trying to find a style of his own. "It's called the style of the shadow step, it wasn't really the one I was originally going to get, but that one is stuck on the genin rank, so I have to make do sadly. It relies on unpredictable movement and using multiple objects to create the illusion of you having multiple people attacking together against the enemy. Apparently it's a style that the Yondaime used in order to fight the Nine Tails years ago, but no one is completely sure of it. The idea came to my head and I figured since I tend to prank a lot of people, I could make good use of it." "Oh, I think I might know a style you could use, but I'm not entirely sure," Naruto explained with a grin. While Sasuke's fangirls looked just about ready to end Naruto's existence, Sasuke smiled back. "Oh? What would that be?" Sasuke asked, intrigued on what the dope thought he could use. He doubted it would be much help, but it was better than dealing with the fangirls over and over again. Even if it fell out, it might be a good start if anything else. Judging from your clan, you tend to use fire-style techniques against people, so you would use tripwires to immobilize the enemy in order for your jutsu to hit and do damage, as well as a way to send your jutsu along specialized wires built to withstand the flame, correct?" Naruto asked, not entirely sure himself and just going by what Kurama was explaining. Sasuke actually held a look of shock for a moment as he nodded. "How did you know that?" Sasuke stuttered out, surprised by how Naruto knew. Naruto, being Naruto, gave him a cheeky grin in return. "Trade secret. But, with that all in mind, I think the style of the Roaring Dragons would be a good start for you, but I think that's also genin level. Maybe the start is this dragon step style," Naruto said, pointing to the style that laid next to his own. Ironic. I think the styles are related to each other in some way. Funny huh? Naruto grinned as Sasuke looked over the style, impressed with how much it seemed to fit him. He pocketed the style with a smile of appreciation. "Thanks dope, here have this." Sasuke threw a jutsu scroll his way. Naruto fumbled a bit to catch it, but managed to read it. "It's a wind jutsu that might fit you, it wouldn't work for me when I tried it, but who knows, you might find a use for it. We're even for this." Sasuke said as Naruto grinned. "Friends?" Naruto suggested, to which Sasuke seemed to think about it a bit. "Who knows?" Sasuke said instead before walking off. His fangirls looking torn on if they should follow or beat Naruto up. "You got lucky this time, you baka," Sakura said before the fangirls followed Sasuke. Groaning from the whole ordeal, Naruto opened the scroll containing the wind jutsu. "Wow, he has a pretty good eye of jutsu. This is what's called the wind style. Air bullet jutsu or Futen. Wind bullet jutsu depending on who you ask. I'm impressed, this might actually fit your style pretty well as a distraction technique to set up the shadow step style." Kurama seemed actually impressed with Sasuke's choice, but Sasuke himself said that he couldn't use it, how could Naruto? Kurama scoffed at his thoughts. "After this, tell Iruka to let you test with chakra paper, if my guess is right, you can more than definitely use this." Either way, he didn't say that you would be able to use all the techniques you get here, he just said you can get a limit of 3 today, most likely to switch and try out others if it doesn't suit you. "Good job on the style you gave him, I think he appreciated it, but you totally guessed didn't you?" Kurama deadpanned as he asked, only to see Naruto nervously laugh in response. Kurama sighed and waved him off. "Thankfully, I think your guess is right, but it's not the end of the world if it isn't, since he will probably ask Iruka what the Roaring Dragon starter style is either way." Thought that matters. Kurama told him with a smirk as Naruto went in search of another jutsu to fit the one he grabbed, only to see Hinata walking towards him. Then Naruto, "Are you alright?" Hinata asked, looking worried. Naruto nodded with a smile which Hinata returned. I'm glad, I was worried when I saw what happened there." Hinata continued, relieved that Naruto was okay. "Thanks Hinata. I hope you found everything you need?" Naruto asked, to her smile. "Why yeah, we're about to leave actually." "You find all yours?" Hinata told him, much to his shock. "Oh no. I'm still one jutsu off. I was about to go check for another Futen jutsu to go with the one I got just now." Naruto exclaimed, to which Hinata flinched a bit from the volume, much to Kurama's displeasure. Sorry about that, I got to get going to find another one, talk to you later." Naruto said in a lower volume, but before he ran off, Hinata was handing him a scroll. I had found a futon jutsu scroll that I thought might fit you Naruto, do you like it? Hinata asked, most likely wanting to twiddle her thumbs together, but her hands were trying to balance the 3 scrolls while giving Naruto his one. Naruto supported the pile a bit as it looked like it was about to fall while accepting the scroll from her. Thanks Hinata. I appreciate it. Here, let me help with the scrolls. Naruto said, reaching over to grab the pile to help carry it while Hinata moved back from the sudden reach. And no, I got it. Hinata desperately pleaded it out, but to no avail. She almost tripped backwards falling with the stack if not for the help of Sasuke, who was coming back and helped her to her feet. You alright? Is the dope messing with you? Sasuke said, looking angry from what he thought was Naruto being a pervert as Itachi used to call some people that did stuff like this. Naruto looked offended at the thought. And no, thank you. And Naruto was just trying to help me carry my scrolls. Hinata said, handing Naruto a few of the scrolls to carry. Did you find everything okay Sasuke-kun? Hinata asked as the anger loosened a bit as Sasuke realized the situation. Why yes, I did. Sasuke stuttered, throwing a not so subtle look back towards the rabid fangirls starting to catch up with the 3. The other 2 blanked. Run. Naruto stuttered as well from fear. Run. Sasuke said simply, the 3 rushing forward while trying to balance the scrolls in their kid hands. The 3 didn't get that far before Iruka walked up and stopped them, making sure to block the rabid fangirl crowd from the 3, who looked completely terrified by the mob after them. Most of all being Sasuke, who seemed to hide behind Naruto and Hinata a bit. Iruka mentally chuckled at the idea of Sasuke using them as meat shields against the crowd, but looked back to the mob. We're in the library, an institution of silence, learning and building on our strengths and minimizing our weaknesses. Why are you chasing after these 3? Iruka said to them, with the one still in the clan-styled library section stopping to watch. Multitudes of voices sounded off, silence. Iruka shouted to them with a tad of killing intent in his tone, just enough to terrify them all, one at a time, you're growing to be ninjas, not audition for the interrupting Olympics. Act like it already. Iruka scolded them for their behavior some more, some of the students looking like they were about to cry out, some actually doing so, and some seeking Sasuke for comfort. Sasuke looked towards Sakura and mouthed some words towards her. I still believe in you, but not like this. Where's the Saku-chan that I met before? Sasuke asked childishly, as those words were what brought Sakura herself to tears. She moved through the crowd and ignored Iruka, Naruto and Hinata's exclaims of shock in order to hug Sasuke. I'm so sorry. Sakura apologized sobbingly, to which Sasuke returned the hug. It's okay Saku-chan, I missed you too. Sasuke said, shocking the entire class into silence. Ino looked downright furious as she pointed towards Sakura. Why you, whore? Ino shouted viciously towards her. Ino? Iruka shouted back in disbelief, where did she even learn that word? What's a whore? Naruto asked ignorantly, never even hearing about the word. Most of the class also wasn't sure what it meant, even Sakura who the insult was going towards, only looked in confusion at it. Iruka filled the blanks for them, it's a very, very bad word that Ino is going to be in deep trouble for using and should never ever be used against anyone ever. Do you understand me? Iruka said very carefully and deliberately, angry that Ino dared use the word against her best friend. Ino humphed and walked off, violently pushing against Sakura as she went out, 3 scrolls in hand. Sakura was still crying, but now for a different reason. Naruto was gritting his teeth as he thought about rushing out towards Ino for that, but then he saw Sakura crying on the ground. He looked towards Hinata, unaware of what to do as she nodded determinedly, taking Naruto's hand and rushing them both to Sakura's side. The 3, for both boys were at a loss of words and action until Hinata told them what to do, hugged Sakura and comforted her. It's okay Sakura, we're still here. We won't leave you like that. Hinata was the first to give her words of encouragement to her. Yes Sakura, you can count on us. Naruto gave his second, his cheerful grin on his face, looking slightly fake from the anger he still held for Ino. Saku-chan, you told me to stop seeking revenge and saved me from myself. Now it's my turn to help you. Sasuke said out of determination, his more childlike persona shining through his front. Naruto smiled at this, thinking to himself that he liked this Sasuke a lot more than the one he met at the beginning. Kurama was curious on what caused him to be like this, but agreed with his charge's thought, and Iruka offered to carry their scrolls in a special handy-dandy scroll called a storage seal. They accepted and soon, they were helping Sakura home. You okay Sakura-chan? Naruto asked out of worry, as Sakura nodded. Sorry about earlier I think what happened started when that big man gave me a flower I didn't even notice what I was doing until Sasuke-kun did that. Sakura explained, shocking the 3. Why you mean that the fangirls? Sasuke stuttered out to receive a determined and angry nod from Sakura. Yeah. The man probably gave that flower to all of us. I'm sure of it. Sakura said before Naruto stepped up, thumb once again over his chest. Don't worry Sakura, I'll find out what happened for you. Naruto Uzumaki is on the case. Naruto grinned while Sasuke rolled his eyes. Been watching too much mystery shows lately? Sasuke smirked to the indignant pout he got in reply, don't worry dope, we'll find out together. We four should be a team. Sasuke explained, but Naruto shook his head. 5. Choji can help out too, and I bet he'll bring Shikamaru which will make us 6. Naruto explained, using his fingers to count them in. Sasuke shrugged as Sakura nodded along with Hinata. Then let's meet here tomorrow before school starts. Sakura grinned as they agreed before they all split off home, another day spent. What if Naruto has kurama chakra and summoning jutsu? Thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.